Chapter 217. Today, the Annie's business was very good. There was even a long queue of more than 10 people. When these 10-plus people saw that Yi Hua was carrying a child, and there was even a woman that was as cold as ice following behind him, their eyeballs almost popped out. Empress's demeanor was promising. Dong Wangli seemed to be very shy when facing everyone's gaze, and she buried her head into Yi Hua's embrace. Such an action caused everyone to reveal out a smile. Dong Wangli is truly an adorable child. While hugging onto his daughter, Yi Hua stood at the end of the line and waited patiently. Dong Wang Baiji wrinkled her brows. As an empress, when had she ever queued up before, and everyone had to make way for her? Dong Wang Baiji could be seen walking straight towards the front of the group. However, before she even took a single step, Yi Hua said gravely, "What are you doing?" Dong Wang Baiji turned her head around and took a glance at Yi Hua, seemingly as if she was asking, "Do you still need to queue up for such a thing? Come back." Yi Hua said faintly, "This woman really doesn't have any quality at all, and she actually dares to cut the queue. If word of this were to spread out, I, the Supreme Overlord, would be losing face." In actuality, Yi Hua had also tried to cut the queue at the start. As a Supreme Overlord, how could he possibly line up with a bunch of humans? In the end, this Annie didn't give him any face and refused to do it. She had a bad temper. "If it wasn't for the fragrance of your fruit pancake, I would have flipped the stall." Dong Wang Li secretly shouted out, "Mommy, quickly come back. Don't cut the queue." Dong Wang Baiji felt as if she had just received 100,000 damage. Not only was she taught a lesson by Yi Hua, her skills were inferior to Yi Hua's, and now, even her daughter has started to betray Dong Wang Baiji. Most of the people in the queue were boys, and they were rushing to work. But when they saw such a beauty, not to mention cutting the queue, they would do anything. "Beauty, I know you're in a hurry. I'll give my seat to you." Yes, it's not easy. These men, they can't move their eyes away when they see a beauty. Some girls despise this kind of man. If an ugly girl tried it, it would definitely not be like this. Even Dong Wangli felt embarrassed. "Mommy, quickly come back. We need to follow the order." "Look, even Ali knows about this. What are you standing there foolishly for? Come over." Yi Hua shook his head. Even Qinya wouldn't do such a thing. Dong Wang Baiji's face was red from anger, and in an instant, her beauty was peerless. Even so, she didn't look embarrassed at all. She turned around like an empress with an extraordinary demeanor. Seeing how Dong Wang Baiji was able to act to such an extent, Yi Hua could be said to be convinced. "Look at how you behaved just now. How improper." Yi Hua began to teach Ling Lan. He had to start from the most basic aspect of being a person. Of course, Dong Wangli was going to speak up for her mommy. "Daddy, don't blame Mommy. Mommy has always been living alone, and furthermore, she didn't go out at all. It's hard for her to not be sensible." Dong Wang Baiji, Yi Hua caressed onto his daughter's face. "Even Ali is more sensible than Mommy, so obedient." Dong Wang Baiji almost couldn't hold herself back anymore. "This pair of father and daughter are teaming up to bully me. Don't you think I'm angry?" If it wasn't for the fact that they were outside, he would have definitely scolded them. Endure it. Maintain the aura of an empress. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, it was finally Yi Hua's turn. The Annie had already seen Yi Hua long ago, and she was just curious as to why there was a little girl and another beautiful woman with him today. Just that, this beautiful woman looked very familiar. 6 fruit jianbing, one of them with eggs and sausages. Yi Hua said faintly while carrying his daughter. "Daddy, Ali also wants eggs and sausages." Right now, Dong Wangli wanted whatever her daddy wanted, and she wanted it as well. Yi Hua smiled faintly. "Is Ali able to eat all of them?" Dong Wangli rubbed onto her stomach, and Ali's stomach is able to contain all of them. "To it is then," Yi Hua said to the Annie. The Annie that made the pancakes cried out in surprise. "I remember now. 3 years ago, you were standing here every morning." Dong Wang Baiji wrinkled her brows and didn't reply. Yi Hua and Dong Wang Li immediately looked towards Dong Wang Baiji. "Mommy, were you peeping at Daddy?" Dong Wang Li asked naively. A small knife stabbed onto Dong Wang Baiji's chest. "At the very least, you have been standing here for more than 10 days. The auntie added. Dong Wang Li had a surprised look on her face. Wow, so mommy secretly likes daddy. Stab, another small knife stabbed onto Dong Wang Baiji's chest. Right now, Dong Wang Baiji didn't feel good at all. Back then, I was standing here because I was angry. I wasn't secretly in love. Yihua rubbed onto the child and said faintly, Ali, it is normal for mommy to have this kind of reaction. After all, daddy is indeed very attractive. Daddy is the most handsome. Mommy is even mesmerized by him. Stab, stab. Dong Wang Baiji's heart was stabbed by an invisible knife. Young man, is this your daughter? The auntie asked curiously. Without waiting for Yihua to speak, Dong Wang Li said with a smile, Hello, Grandma. My name is Dong Wang Li. He is my daddy, and she is my mommy. Young man, being fickle isn't a good thing. The auntie started preaching again. Yihua was only able to continue listening to the auntie's preaching. Of course, Yihua would refute the auntie's preaching, for example, right now, fickle? That doesn't exist. This is my new wife. The other one is currently sleeping at home. If this isn't fickle, then what is it? Who is your new wife? Pay attention to your words. Dong Wang Baiji finally couldn't bear it anymore and spoke out to refute. Dong Wang Li clapped her hands and said with a smile, Is mommy going to be a bride? Ali is so happy. Ali, don't speak. Dong Wang Baiji stopped Ali. Dong Wang Li pouted her mouth, then replied with an oh, then buried her head in her daddy's bosom pitifully. The auntie sighed. You youngsters, don't let the child bear the responsibility for the mistake. After all, the child is innocent. What the auntie said was reasonable. Yihua and Dong Wang Baiji didn't refute. Little Ali smiled towards the auntie, then hid back in her bosom. After waiting for quite a while, Yihua walked back with the piping hot Chinese jianbing, while Ali began eating it. Take it. Yihua extended the bag in front of Dong Wang Baiji. I'm not taking it. As my woman, don't you even understand this bit of rules? Yihua said gravely. This is too unruly. Sorry, I'm not your woman. Dong Wang Li asked curiously. If mommy isn't daddy's woman, then whose woman is mommy? Ali, don't speak. Yihua was a lot calmer now, then said faintly, Dong Wang Baiji, you better listen to me as soon as possible. Dong Wang Li, who was in Yihua's bosom, nodded her head and didn't speak. Wishful thinking. Yihua didn't pay attention to Ali. After returning to Leisure Bar, he once again locked Dong Wang Baiji up, then took the breakfast and went upstairs. 2 of the breakfast were given to Dong Wang Baiji, who was playing games, and the 2 of them still haven't woken up yet. Standing at the entrance of the office, Yihua opened the door and entered the office. Qing could be seen curling up on the sofa, just like how she did last night, looking very pitiful. Yihua's heart ached when he saw that. It's time to wake up and eat breakfast. Yihua shouted lightly. Qingya's voice was still choking with emotions. I don't have any appetite. You can leave. Chapter 218. Get out of here. Qingya roared. Her roar made everyone worried, but also made everyone's heart ache. Yihua had no choice but to leave with his brows creased while holding onto the piping hot fruit jianbing in his hand. Walking down the stairs, Dong Wang Baiji and Dong Wang Li could be seen sitting together. The 2 of them were chatting and laughing. You feed me, I feed you. Ali, come over. Yihua shouted faintly. Dong Wang Li rushed into Yihua's embrace like a little bird. This made Dong Wang Baiji feel very jealous. Why is my daughter so clingy to daddy? She wasn't like this in the past. Reporting to daddy, Ali is here. Yihua was very happy and said tenderly, Ali, can you help daddy out? And go and pass this fruit jianbing to Aunt Qing. She is angry right now and doesn't want to eat it. Ali's mission is to think of a way to make Aunt Qing eat it. Yihua felt sorry towards Qingya. Dong Wang Li patted on her chest. Daddy, don't worry. Ali will definitely make Aunt Qing eat it. And go ahead. Dong Wang Li took the fruit, jianbing, and ran to the 2nd floor. Yihua let out a sigh of relief. I hope that Qingya won't be stubborn for the sake of the child. It is normal for her to be angry. I was also very angry back then and couldn't eat for a few days. Dong Wang Baiji said faintly while sitting like an empress. Yi Hua came to Dong Wang Baiji's side and sat beside her. He lit up a cigarette and said, "Seems like you still can't forget about me. Why didn't you come and look for me after you got Ali?" Dong Wang Baiji sneered. "I have my dignity too. I will take care of Ali myself. You don't need to worry about me. Fortunately, my Ali found me. Otherwise, you will be in for a good time." "Oomph. Shameless man," Yi Hua said gravely. "If you want to be locked up here forever, you can scold me however you want. You are a bastard." "Bastard?" Yi Hua's expression turned cold. He dragged Dong Wang Baiji over and placed her on his lap. Dong Wang Baiji's expression changed greatly. "My spiritual power is sealed. I am just like an ordinary person. How can I be this man's opponent?" "What are you doing?" Yi Hua slapped onto that perky buttocks and said gravely, "Don't think that I don't dare to teach you a lesson. I heard that you made my daughter kneel on the keyboard. I'll make you kneel on the keyboard one day." "Bastard, let me go!" Dong Wang Baiji shouted out loudly. She could feel a burning sensation coming from her, but this bastard is so heavy-handed. While smoking, Yi Hua raised and lowered his hand. "Dong Wang Baiji, you better be clear about the facts. Since you are already here, you should properly be my woman and stop thinking about useless things." "Scram! I will be your woman for the rest of my life." Dong Wang Baiji did not fear Yi Hua's threat and shouted out angrily. However, Yi Hua liked this kind of stubborn woman. If she were to admit defeat right away, it would be meaningless. Immediately, a symphony started ringing out in the hall. However, Dong Wang Baiji did not make a single sound and endured it. After a short while, Yi Hua gave up on this move, as it was useless against her. "That's all for today. If you dare to offend your superiors again, I won't let you off lightly." "Yi Hua, I hate you," Dong Wang Baiji shouted out coldly with red eyes. "Back then, you were the one who was heartless, and now, you want to do this to me? Do you think that I, Dong Wang Baiji, am the kind of woman who comes and goes as you please?" Looking at Yi Hua walking up the stairs, Dong Wang Baiji tightly wrinkled her brows and touched her butt. So painful, Dong Wang Li, who was walking up the stairs with a Chinese Jianbing, stealthily opened the door and saw that Aunt Qing was lying on the sofa. Dong Wang Li felt very sad in her heart. "It's all my fault. If not, Daddy wouldn't have fallen out with Aunt Qing." "Get out!" Qing shouted out coldly. "Aunt Qing, it's me, Ali." Dong Wang Li was startled by Qing and said with grievance. Qing went into a daze, then turned her head around and looked towards the door. As expected, it was only little Ali. Qing said embarrassedly, "Ali, Aunt Qing didn't shout at you on purpose just now." Towards Dong Wang Li, Qing did not feel any resentment towards her. After all, children are innocent. Furthermore, I like Ali. She is a very sensible little girl. "Aunt Qing, I'm sorry. It was Ali's appearance that made you and Daddy angry." The clever Dong Wang Li began laying the groundwork. That pitiful expression on her face made it seem as if she had to take responsibility for everything that was wrong. Qing tenderly hugged onto Dong Wang Li, then said faintly, "Ali, this is not your fault. All of the faults are your daddy's fault." Dong Wang Li stretched out her small hand and wiped away the tears that were at the corner of Qing's eyes. "Aunt Qing, Ali still wants to apologize to you." "Silly child, you did not do anything wrong. It is Aunt's own fault." Qing squeezed out a trace of smile. Dong Wang Li pursed her small mouth. "Aunt Qing, Daddy punished Mommy to sleep in the living room last night." In actuality, Dong Wang Li understood that one shouldn't think that children are easy to be deceived. Hearing that, Qing went into a daze for a moment. "I thought that Daddy and Daddy would sleep together, but I didn't expect that they didn't. Yesterday, Daddy and Ali slept together, and Daddy was even calling out Aunt Qing's name in his dreams." If Yi Hua were to hear what his daughter said, he would definitely shout out 666. As expected of my biological daughter, she knows how to help Daddy. Qing didn't say anything, but it was clear that her expression was getting a bit better, and her beautiful face became more relaxed. "Aunt Qing, quickly eat some. If not, you will get hungry." Seeing that it was about time, Dong Wang Li took out the Chinese Jianbing that was in her hand. How about Ali feed Aunt Qing this? This jianbing is super delicious. Ali is already very full now. Ali is so obedient. Aunt can do it myself. Qingyu was finally moved by little Ali. Originally, she was planning to go on a hunger strike to protest against Yihua's actions. Fortunately, Dong Wangli stood up for Yihua, which made Qingyu feel a bit more comfortable. After all, Yihua didn't really like explaining things to others. Seeing that Qingyu had started eating, Dong Wangli rubbed on Qingyu's stomach. Aunt Qing, is Ali going to become a big sister? Qingyu laughed bitterly, then said forcefully, In another 8 months, Ali will become a big sister. That's great. Ali is finally not lonely anymore. Looking at Dong Wang Li, who was clapping her hands happily, Qingyu went silent. If there wasn't a child, I wouldn't have interacted with Yihua, and the feelings that I have with Yihua are also born from the child. Right now, Qingyu didn't know what she should do. Should I go and ask Yutong and see what she thinks about this matter? What Qingyu didn't know was that Qing Yutong had already changed sides a long time ago. Seeing that Aunt Qing had started eating, Dong Wangli felt that she had completed her mission perfectly and happily left the house to report this good news. After Yihua heard it, he finally let out a breath of relief. Towards Qingyu, Yihua didn't want to use forceful methods because he knew that Qingyu wasn't the kind of person who would be amenable to coaxing but not coercion. This family conflict still needs to be slowly mediated, and right now, I can only hope that my daughter will be able to act as a bridge and properly communicate with them. Chapter 219. Zijin City. Location: Xiao Family Mansion. The same location, the mansion's hall. At this moment, Xiao Yi's face was pale as he sat in a wheelchair. He was on a drip and looked very weak. Behind her stood her 2 beautiful wives, Shu Nan and the pregnant Yu Qi. The 2 of them accompanied her with concern, their beautiful eyes filled with endless worry. On the mahogany chair below, Tang Wushuang was currently sipping on a cup of tea. There was a trace of peculiarity in his expression. If one didn't observe carefully, it would be very hard to notice. Big Brother Xiao, the current situation is not very optimistic. I feel that Big Brother Xiao should retreat for now. Tang Wushuang was struggling in his heart. Xiao Yi had done me a favor, but for the sake of the entire family's benefits, and also for personal reasons. If Xiao Yi gave him the Xinyuan sword, that would be for the best. It would prevent a scene of brothers turning against each other. He could only hope that Xiao Yi could see the current situation clearly. How did the aristocratic families decide? Xiao Yi asked weakly, but there was a hint of sadness in the depths of his eyes. He didn't need to think too much to know why his good brother had come. Tang Wushuang let out a breath, then placed the teacup on the table. This time around, when the people from the north went to snatch it, the aristocratic families from the south used this as an excuse and filed a lawsuit against the north. Furthermore, the 2 big shots from the south are also supporting them from the back. The fact that the north didn't respond to the lawsuit, I'm afraid that they tacitly agreed to it. So in order to avoid a large-scale death, both sides reached an agreement. What agreement? Xiao Yi asked in a deep voice. It was hard for Tang Wushuang to say it out loud. After a long while, he said, the southern clans will choose 3 clan heads to come to the north to snatch it, but they can't bring anyone along. Whether we can seize it or not will depend on the abilities of the 3 patriarchs. Do you have any requests for the northern family? Tang Wushuang shook his head. If I had a request, I wouldn't be sitting here. Actually, to the aristocratic families, this matter was not important. The South was fighting for their face, and they fought for this fair and square counterattack. The aristocratic families in the North did not have any rules, so they definitely had the intention of protecting them. Of course, this wasn't to protect the Xiao family, but rather to protect the ancient godly item from falling into the hands of the Southerners. After all, if the ancient godly item was really snatched away by the Southerners, it would be a great humiliation. As for the target of the fight, it went without saying that it was Xiao Yi's Xinyuan sword. Everyone knew that Xiao Yi had been injured in the battle against the black-robed man. It was very simple to take advantage of his weakness. It was irrational to rob the Bai clan. After all, by CI was very eccentric. There was also Wang Debao, the king of luck. Xiao Yi slowly closed his eyes and said, "It seems like they plan to wash my Xiao family in blood. Big brother Xiao, the Xianyuan sword is a hot potato now. As long as you don't have the Xianyuan sword, they won't do anything to you. After all, their target is the ancient godly item, not Big Brother Xiao." Xiao Yi opened his eyes, revealing a deathly aura. "Wushuang, what do you think Big Brother should do?" That was what he wanted to hear. Tang Wushuang's body slightly leaned forward, and it could be seen just how much he longed for it right now. This minute movement was seen by Xiao Yi very clearly. "Big Brother Xiao, now all the small clans and rich merchants have announced that they're staying away from you. The situation is very bad. If you trust Wushuang, you can give the Xianyuan sword to Wushuang for safekeeping. Wushuang will definitely protect you." In actuality, Tang Wushuang had thought of many kinds of methods. Not only would he be able to obtain the Xianyuan sword, but he would also be able to not destroy the friendship between them. This was the only method he could try. However, when the time came, he would definitely be lectured by his master. If it was 10 days ago, Xiao Yi might have handed over Xianyuan's sword without holding anything back, but now, that was impossible. He could even see the intention of this brotherly man. The Xianyuan sword was an ancient godly item. There was no need to talk about its might. For it to be able to contend against the Death Mage's Scythe of Death, it was even able to leave a dent in the Scythe of Death. From this, it could be seen just how powerful the Xianyuan sword was. Who wouldn't want to possess such an ancient godly item? If the aristocratic families didn't set a limit on the number of ancient godly items that they could possess, they would have come to snatch it long ago. Among all swords, the Xianyuan sword was the king. It was an ancient godly item that even aristocratic families wanted to possess. Tang Wushuang's words were indeed pleasant to hear. He said that he would temporarily keep it for safekeeping. Most probably, once he went there, there would be no possibility of him taking it back. Xiao Yi sighed and said, "Wushuang, back then, when I snatched the Xianyuan sword, it was fortunate that you were there to help me restrain the enemy." Hearing what Xiao Yi said, Tang Wushuang was delighted in his heart. But the Xianyuan sword is the symbol of our Xiao family. The Xiao clan is no longer the Xiao clan. Wushuang, you should understand what I mean. Xiao Yi didn't want to point it out. He only wanted Tang Wushuang to give up on the thought of snatching the Xianyuan sword. If that's the case, then we can still continue being brothers. However, Tang Wushuang didn't think so. "Back then, if it wasn't for me helping you, you wouldn't have been able to snatch Xianyuan's sword. Even at this time, you still want to protect it. Do you really not trust me that much?" The more Tang Wushuang thought about it, the more he was unwilling to accept it. Originally, Xiao family and Tang family were on the same starting line, and it was because Xiao family snatched Xianyuan's sword that their momentum overshadowed Tang family. Everyone thought that he was Xiao Yi's lackey, a hired thug. After all, when he was weak, Brother Xiao had helped him out. However, even at this time, he is still protecting the sword. Tang Wushuang was furious. He thought to himself, "What teacher said is right. On the path of power, there are only benefits. Big Brother Xiao, if you still don't make a decision now, when they come, Wushuang won't be able to help you anymore." Tang Wushuang's brows wrinkled tightly, and his tone actually carried a threatening tone. This made Xiao Yi very hurt. This world was filled with all kinds of benefits and temptations. Originally, he thought that Tang Wushuang would be able to walk with him to the end, but in the end, Tang Wushuang was still unable to endure the temptation of Xianyuan's sword. "Wushuang, Brother Xiao appreciates your kind intentions, but you should just do what you have to do." Xiao Yi sighed. "Today is probably the day when we fall out with each other. Yo, young Master Tang, you came so early. Why didn't you call your brother along?" A young man could be seen walking in from outside the door. He was wearing a white singlet, and his explosive muscles were exposed, looking very sexy. The full beard on his face added a sense of manliness, and his facial features were very pleasant to look at. This man's name was Ling Tian, and he was the head of the Ling family in the Northeast. The purpose of him coming here was very obvious. Xianyuan's sword. From there, he would obtain the qualification to be promoted to an aristocratic family. Speaking of which, this Ling Tian and Xiao Yi had interacted before. Back then, they also helped each other out. Just that, they were not in the same city, so their relationship wasn't very close. So, this Ling Tian who came, quickly take a seat. Shu Nan, serve the tea. Although Xiao Yi had a smile on his face, he felt uncomfortable in his heart. Other than Tang Wushuang, Ling Tian could also be considered as a friend. However, he didn't expect that a disaster would occur. It was fine if a normal friend left, but a good brother and a good friend also changed sides. This was a test, and the test was all about human nature. Brother Xiao, sister-in-law. Ling Tian cupped his hands and didn't reveal the purpose of him coming here. Shu Nan smiled gently. Ling Tian, quickly take a seat. All right, sister-in-law. Ling Tian appeared to be very forthright, forming a clear contrast with Tang Wushuang's expression. After drinking the tea that Shu Nan served, Ling Tian smiled and said, "Good tea. It's much better than the tea at home." Yu Qi laughed. "If you feel that it's good, I could prepare a few packets for you to bring back." "Sister-in-law, don't. I am a rough person, and I was just pretending just now. In actuality, it's so bitter, it would be a waste to give it to me." Ling Tian laughed loudly, and the tense atmosphere eased up a bit. After pausing for a moment, Ling Tian asked curiously, "Brother Xiao, are your injuries all right?" Chapter 220. Xiao Yi let out a deep sigh and squeezed out a smile. "Thank you for your concern, Brother Ling Tian. My injuries won't heal in a short time." Ling Tian let out a heavy sigh. "Brother Xiao, this won't do. I've received news that the Cloud sect in the south has been defeated. The Southern Alliance, Guang family, he's already on his way." After Xiao Yi heard this, he said softly, "Yun sect Master Sun Fong, Southern Alliance's High Daisi, Guang clan's Guang Tianlu, they really think highly of our Xiao clan." Ling Tian grinned. Xiao Yi didn't have a source of information and didn't know about this. He said, "Big brother Xiao, the sect leader of the Cloud sect has changed. The current sect leader is Sun Yi." Sun Yi. Xiao Yi really didn't know. He wasn't in the mood to investigate the south. Ling Tian nodded his head and said, "I'll have to start from the ancient godly item. The previous sect master of the Cloud sect, Sun Fong, had an affair with the Black Robe." Tainted Black Robe. Xiao Yi was very shocked. That Black Robe is a skeleton, and Sun Fong is a human. And furthermore, she is a proud woman of the South. How could she possibly have an affair with a skeleton? Does this skeleton have any special skills? This news has already been confirmed. On that day when we were fighting over the ancient godly item, the Black Robe had appeared with Sun Fong, and the actions of the two of them were especially alluring. This Black Robe is also an expert to actually be able to woo the southern girl, Sun Fong. Speaking up to here, Ling Tian was also endlessly envious. That Sun Fong's appearance is top-notch. However, hearing that the Black Robe man was so terrifying, this Sun Fong's brain must have been damaged. Sun Fong was overthinking things. Right now, she was very happy. She could play some games, poke some skeletons, and have a bunch of winners listening to her commands. This was much more interesting than being a sect master. Of course, the reason why she was able to obtain her current position was because of Yihua. It could be given, but it could also be taken back. This was the so-called deciding a person's fate with a single thought. Just like the current Xiao Yi. The reason why Yihua gave Xiao Yi his life was because he hoped that Xiao Yi would not receive his bento so quickly. Don't think that this is charity. This is Yihua's understanding of human nature. Okay, this is charity. His life was given by Yihua, so of course he could take it back as well. It all depended on how strong Xiao Yi's comprehension was, and whether he could achieve Yihua's goal in this crisis. Shu Nan and Yu Qi were also quite shocked. Everyone was present that day, and they had an innate fear of Black Robe. Now that they heard that Black Robe had an affair with a southern lady, their worldview was overturned. Skeletons and people, humans and animals. Right now, Tang Wushuang didn't say anything. Although the Black Robe was powerful, His teacher had also said that he would be able to defeat the Black Robe. Therefore, there was nothing for him to worry about. However, there were a lot of things that Tang Wushuang didn't know. You know nothing of your enemy. However, he had no idea who the real enemy was. Xianyuan's sword? This was just bait. 9 demons punishing tower? In Yihua's eyes, Wang Debao was just a black iron. The reason why Yihua threw Wang Debao to Wang Debao was because Wang Debao was a trustworthy person, and his main purpose was to frame Yihua. However, Wang Debao happily ran back to Yihua and fawned upon Yihua. All of this was under Yihua's control. If there wasn't a family dispute, I would definitely want to admire this process right now. After all, he was the one who directed it. How could he not appreciate his work? Xiao Yi on the main seat was silent. 3 from the south. There were 2 of them, and this was only on the surface. Who knew how many of them were hiding in the dark? It seemed like a bloody battle was going to happen today. At this moment, 3 silhouettes appeared in the sky, flying rapidly towards the Xiao clan mansion. Swish, swish, swish. The 3 of them were precisely Sun Yi, Haidai Si, and Guang Tianlu, who rushed over from the south. The 3 of them were fearless. After all, the higher-ups had given the order, other than the owner of the ancient godly item. No one is allowed to harm the 3 of them. Although it was the promise made by the aristocratic families in the north. Who knows if the aristocratic families would make a move on the 3 of them. Therefore, the aristocratic families in the south didn't dare to rashly make a decision. However, some people like to take risks. After the 3 of them landed, they cupped their hands towards Xiao Yi, Xiao family head. I trust that you have been well since we last met. Xiao Yi smiled lightly. Those who came are guests, Shu Nan, served tea. The 3 of them pondered for a while and sat down to observe the situation. However, they didn't drink the tea. Who knows if the tea was drugged or not? Haidai Si didn't want to be long-winded and went straight to the point. Xiao family head, I'm afraid that you already know the reason why we came here. Hand over Xianyuan's sword, and we can avoid a battle. What you all said is right. Handing over Xianyuan's sword is indeed my choice, but I still want to take a gamble. Xiao Yi waved his hand and gestured to Shu Nan and Yu Qi to leave. However, they seemed to be very worried. Sun Yi snorted coldly, then said while looking at Xiao Yi, who was being injected with water, since Xiao family head insists on doing this, then don't blame us. Xiao Yi pulled out the needle and slowly stood up. Everyone was a big shot, and Xiao Yi's current state was very weak. One finger could poke him to death. It's not convenient to fight here. Everyone, follow me, Xiao Yi said indifferently and slowly flew out of Xiao family mansion. Everyone followed behind him and didn't make things difficult for him. After all, they were here to steal ancient god items, not to exterminate a family. Xiao Yi brought everyone to an open space. It was as if it had been baptized by an atomic bomb. It was clearly a forest, but there was not a single blade of grass growing within a few miles. This is the place where I fought against the Black Robe that night. Xiao Yi's words caused everyone to gasp. Hearing about it was just hearing about it, but seeing it in person was another feeling. It wasn't that the people here couldn't do it, but it was very difficult unless it was a life-and-death situation. It seemed that Xiao Yi was in a life-and-death situation that night, which also showed the power of Xianyuan's sword. Actually, the real battle wasn't the destruction of the scene, but the snap of a finger. All kinds of difficult and complicated diseases could be cured. The 3 of them were glad that Xiao Yi was in a sick state, or else it would have been a little troublesome. Xiao Yi clenched his fist, and the golden Xianyuan sword appeared in his hand, emitting a dense aura. Seeing Xiao Yi take out the Xianyuan sword, the breathing of the 3 quickened. Compared to the 9 demons punishing pagoda, the Xianyuan sword was much more attractive. Tang Wushuang took a deep breath, then silently walked to the side, expressing his attitude. Xiao Yi took a look. He wasn't disappointed, but he felt pained. Ling Tian hesitated with a heavy expression, as though he was struggling with the devil in his heart. Ling Tian, I, Xiao Yi, don't regret being friends with you. It's time to make a choice. Xiao Yi used the Xianyuan sword to support his body. However, at this moment, Sun Yi's slender hand trembled, and a sharp sword appeared in her hand. With a fierce sword she attacked Xiao Yi with a speed that would leave people speechless. Anyone who could become the Grand Master of the Cloud Sect was no pushover. Xiao Yi's face sank. The wind from the sword energy caused Xiao Yi's clothes to flutter and his face to hurt. He gripped the Xianyuan sword tightly in his hand. Good timing. I, Xiao Yi, have been holding back my anger for far too long. The pain of losing my wife, the pain of begging others, every second is torturing me. This emperor has commanded the winds and clouds for 1,000 years, but I never thought that I would fall after my rebirth. Since that's the case, I shall let all of you experience the pain of angering an immortal emperor. However, just when Xiao Yi was about to move his sword, a large hand suddenly grabbed the sword. Ling Tian's weapons were all parts of his body. Xiao Yi looked at Ling Tian, who was at the side, and Ling Tian looked at Xiao Yi with a smile. Chapter 221. In the face of imminent peril, Ling Tian did not find his conscience. Instead, he discovered that Xiao Yi was pretending. No wonder he was the act tough king. He was the one who taught him how to act tough in the past. Who would have thought that he would use this trick of pretending to be sick today? Amazing. He accepted this act of acting tough. With a shout, Sunny pulled out her sharp sword, causing sparks to fly in Ling Tian's palm. Brother Xiao, today we will fight with our backs against the wall. I do not wish to be born on the same day, but I wish to die on the same day. Ling Tian roared, and a powerful aura spread out in all directions. Those who didn't know better would think that the two of them were gay friends. Ling Tian then patted Xiao Yi's shoulder. Don't worry, with me around, no one will dare to touch a single hair on Brother Xiao's head. He thought to himself, Brother Xiao will most probably be touched to death. That Tang Wushuang really doesn't have good eyesight. Brother Xiao is the act tough king. How could he let go of such a pretentious scene? Good brother, I'm going to take a break, Xiao Yi said in a deep voice, using the Xianyuan sword as a crutch. Brother Xiao, I'm not joking. Don't scare me. I've already boasted about it. Otherwise, I'll be slapping my face. Hide I see. Go install Ling Tian. Guang Tian Road. You, and I will launch a pincer attack on Xiao Yi. Sun Yi shouted. Guang Tianlu frowned, and 3 cards instantly appeared on her slender fingers, radiating with a red glow. Icebone Dragon. As the 3 cards were thrown out, 3 icebone dragons were instantly condensed. This kind of bone dragon was not ordinary. Its skeleton seemed to be made of ice and had sharp ice thorns. Roar. The 3 huge icebone dragons faced the sky and roared. The bursts of dragon roars made people exclaim in admiration. Guang Tianlu threw out another 3 cards and imprinted them on the 3 ice skeletal dragons. Golden light flashed, and when the icebone dragon reappeared, its skeleton was actually wearing a set of golden armor, looking very majestic. Coupled with its huge body, it was even more frightening. As expected of the Southern Guang family's patriarch, crafty card player 6, Sun Yi was not to be outdone. Although the Cloud Sect was known for their sword arts, the secret scripture that the Cloud Sect had was not sword arts, but rather Thousand Mountains' sovereign guide. Chasing after Sun Yi let out a delicate shout, and a huge amount of spiritual energy gushed out from her body, covering the entire ground. Boom! With a muffled sound, a huge crack appeared on the ground, and a giant claw emerged from the ground. It was followed by another giant claw, then the head, and then the entire body. The aura he emitted made everyone suck in a breath of cold air. An ancient divine beast. Ling Tian let out a cry of surprise. This lady actually summoned an ancient divine beast. How was this possible? Not only was Ling Tian dumbfounded, apart from Sun Yi herself, everyone else was dumbfounded. To actually summon an ancient mythological beast, this should be the foundation of the Cloud Sect. This woman was really willing to part with it. If the sect was not in a life-and-death situation, they would definitely not reveal their trump cards. Who would have thought that for the sake of an ancient godly item, They would even bring out an ancient divine beast. What a waste. Xiao Yi looked at the ancient divine beast in front of him with a solemn expression. This beast looked a bit like a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but the difference was that it had 2 heads and 4 limbs. Its 4 eyes were even more frightening. They even contained a hint of confusion. The black scales on its body wriggled slowly, looking extremely disgusting, as expected of an ancient divine beast. Thousand Mountains Sovereign Guide. However, Xiao Yi had never seen Ying family's heavy dust before. Compared to heavy dust, this ancient divine beast was much skinnier, just like a newborn baby. For the 3 big shots to be able to hold their positions, they naturally had their own trump cards. However, Ying family's trump cards were all suppressed by Yi Hua's absolute strength. Big brother Xiao, quickly leave. I will take care of things here. Ling Tian's current appearance was just like a child who was asking for a red packet during Chinese New Year. At this moment, Xiao Yi's entire aura was ignited, and a powerful spiritual energy swept out like raging waves. Rumbling sounds rang out between heaven and earth. Immediately, dark clouds covered the sky, and thunder rumbled. Right now, Xin Yuan's sword seemed to have sensed its master's anger, and a powerful sword chi burst out from it. The sword chi actually fused together with Xiao Yi's spiritual energy, and a huge amount of energy that was produced actually caused cracks to appear on the Icebone Dragon's armor. Tang Wushuang's face turned black. I didn't expect that brother Xiao was pretending to be sick. He is actually fine, and his strength seems to be even more ferocious than before. Ling Tian, you step back. I'll be fine alone. The current Xiao Yi seemed to have returned to the past, the time when he was in control of life and death. Ling Tian was overjoyed. Big brother Xiao is indeed starting to act cool, as expected of the act-tough King Xiao. Hi Dicey, what are you still looking at? Sun, he shouted. The current Xiao Yi seems to be much stronger than I imagined, but even at his peak, he didn't have this kind of strength. Of course, this was all thanks to Wei Cheng's Black Fog. Not only did it save Xiao Yi's life, it also increased his strength. The current Xiao Yi should be able to play with Death Assassin. He still won't be able to face Death Mage, unless Death Mage goes for close combat again. As a big shot of the Southern Alliance, Hai Dicey definitely has the ability. Now that everyone has used their trump cards, I will also widen everyone's horizons. Hai Dicey can be seen drawing a spiritual formation in the air with his finger. Then he slapped it down and shouted, everyone's invisibility technique. Vayu other than Xiao Yi and the other 2. All the humans and beasts disappeared. Xiao Yi's face sunk. This is not a simple invisibility technique. Even their aura is hidden. The 3 big shots joining hands indeed gave Xiao Yi a headache. Xiao Yi summoned the black tortoise armor and said to Ling Tian, who was beside him, I will remember today's favor. I will definitely repay you in the future. No need to be so polite. We are all family. Ling Tian had the intention to befriend Xiao Yi. If Xiao Yi managed to squeeze into the ranks of the aristocratic families, it would be good for his Ling family. Tang Wushuang, who was at the side, clenched his fists tightly. I didn't expect that I would be fooled by Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi, since you don't treat me as a brother, don't blame me for falling out with you. Xiao Yi, who was on the battlefield, held the Xin Yuan sword in his hand and wore the black tortoise armor, looking exactly the same as when he fought against Death Mage. Immediately, a cold light came towards Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi hurriedly dodged, and when he turned around to look at the position he was at just now, it was filled with icicles. Without thinking too much, Xiao Yi dodged again, and the position he was at just now actually became a deep hole. Since I can't see it, then I will break it. Heaven's punishment sword formula, Void Break. Xiao Yi could be seen stabbing the Xin Yuan sword into the ground, and the ground immediately started to boil like boiling water. A wave of spiritual energy started to gather in the Xin Yuan sword. Boom! With Xiao Yi as the center, a wave of golden light spread out in a circular shape, and Sun Yi and the others who just disappeared were all revealed. Hai Dicey cried out involuntarily, You actually broke my special ability. Xiao Yi looked at Hai Dicey and sneered. There is no special ability that the Xianyuan sword cannot break. Next, I will let all of you witness the might of the Xianyuan sword. Xianyuan art, illumination. The Xianyuan sword instantly floated up into the sky, and Xiao Yi, who was below, immediately made a hand seal. The spiritual energy on his body became denser and denser, and within this spiritual energy, there was also a trace of black fog, which was not very eye-catching. Pucci, Xiao Yi's face sunk, and he slowly lowered his head. A dagger that was emitting a cold light pierced through his chest, and the blade of the dagger was still dripping with his own blood. When he turned around to take a look, it was actually Tang Wushuang. Xiao Yi had calculated everything, but he didn't expect that Tang Wushuang would actually kill him. Sneak attack. In actuality, Xiao Yi was still worried about Tang Wushuang's resentment. Xiao Yi thought that Tang Wushuang would fight against him openly, but he didn't expect that Tang Wushuang would actually sneak attack him. Furthermore, this dagger shouldn't be an ordinary item, as it was actually able to pierce through armor. This dagger was borrowed by Tang Wushuang's teacher, and it was an unremarkable ancient godly item. Tang Wushuang had to return it to Tang Wushuang. Chapter 222. The sudden sneak attack stunned everyone. Everyone knew that the relationship between Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang wasn't bad. Even if the relationship between Xiao Yi and Tang Wushuang had fallen out, it wouldn't be to the extent of sneak attacking Tang Wushuang from behind, right? After all, sneak attacking Tang Wushuang in this kind of situation wasn't a glorious thing. With Tang Wushuang's way of doing things, even if he managed to obtain the Xianyuan sword, he would still fail the aristocratic family's evaluation. There was a problem with the family head's way of doing things. Right now, Tang Wushuang's gaze was no longer on the Xianyuan sword. He only wanted to kill this ungrateful brother of his. Tang Wushuang, Ling Tian shouted out angrily. He punched out with a ferocious momentum, and a vigorous spiritual energy turned into a giant golden fist. Tang Wushuang's expression turned serious. Pulling out his dagger, he clenched his right hand into a fist and actually punched towards the huge fist. Don't forget, Tang Wushuang is also very strong. Otherwise, the sneak attack wouldn't have gone so smoothly. He wasn't called the king of soldiers for nothing. Boom, boom, boom. A series of loud explosions rang out, and waves of astonishing spiritual energy swept out in all directions, causing everyone to exclaim in admiration. Sun Yi, Hai Daisi, and Guang Tianlu were delighted. This Tang Wushuang could be said to have helped them a lot. The Xianyuan sword in the sky lost control of Xiao Yi and stabbed straight into the ground. Sun Yi was the first to react, and she dashed towards the Xianyuan sword. Hai Daisi and Guang Tianlu, who were at the back, came back to their senses. They scolded him for being shameless and hurriedly rushed forward. Right now, Xiao Yi was forced back and powerlessly fell to the ground. Blood was gushing out from his chest, but if one looked at his body, they would see a black mist slowly healing. However, Xiao Yi's gaze was fixated on Tang Wushuang's back view. He didn't dare to believe that Tang Wushuang would do such a thing. Sun Yi's speed was extremely fast. She grabbed the hilt of the Xianyuan sword with her delicate hand and pulled out fiercely. She laughed wildly and said, "The Xianyuan sword belongs to me, Sun Yi." Just as Sun Yi was rejoicing, the three ice-bone dragons charged at Sun Yi fiercely. Sun Yi snorted coldly and waved the Xianyuan sword in her hand. Suddenly, a golden light bloomed, and the three ice-bone dragons were forced to retreat. Guang Tian rode. "What are you trying to do?" Sun Yi questioned coldly. "Sect Master Sun, it's not appropriate for you to snatch it away just like that." Guang Tianlu's calm face revealed his anger. Sun Yi laughed delicately. "Guang Tianlu, when we came here, we already agreed that this Xianyuan sword would belong to whoever snatches it first. Hai Daisi, what are you standing there for? Grab the sword." Guang Tianlu shouted at Hai Daisi, who was standing at the side. Another card appeared in his hand, and the three ice-bone dragons started to fuse. Their bodies fused together and transformed into 3 ice-bone dragon kings. Hai Dicey's expression was solemn, his hands quickly forming a seal, coldly shouting, "Ice roar." Huge blocks of ice instantly appeared around Sun Yi, and the surrounding temperature plummeted. Each block of ice contained a vast amount of spiritual qi. Sun Yi, who was in the middle of the formation, was facing the attacks of the 2 great forces. It seemed that she was not at ease. After all, she had just obtained the Xianyuan sword and did not have the time to decipher its mysteries. Under Guang Tianlu's control, Icebone Dragon King spewed out 3 streams of ice flame. Suddenly, the sky was covered with ice, and the sky that was originally covered with dark clouds was suddenly filled with a blizzard. Hai Dicey, Guang Tian Road, my Yun sect is irreconcilable with you. Hai Dicey sneered, Sun Yi, if you obediently hand over the Xianyuan sword, you can still be the sect leader. Otherwise, don't even think about it. The ancient divine beast at the side let out a loud roar, and the might of a divine beast attacked towards the 2 of them without holding back. The scales on its body actually left its body and flew towards the 2 of them like a swarm of bees. Hai Dicey and Guang Tianlu's expression tensed up, and they immediately used their martial arts to defend themselves. However, were the scales on the body of the ancient divine beast fake? Obviously not, and the 2's defense was instantly destroyed. As expected of Yun Sect's foundation, it cannot be underestimated. Guang Tianlu had no choice but to control Icebone Dragon King to attack the ancient divine beast, and the pressure on Sun Fong instantly decreased by a lot. Hai Dicey, go and die. Sun Fong used the Xianyuan sword in her hand to break through the formation, and pointed the sword at Hai Dicey. Hai Dicey was only a long-range metahuman, and he did not have strong close combat abilities like Death Mage. Thus, he could only choose to dodge. The 2 of them started a chase. Sun Yi was like a shrew, slashing with the Xianyuan sword, while Hai Dicey was like a bullied husband, dodging in all sorts of ways. Sun Fong, who was chasing after Hai Dicey, suddenly frowned. She felt a sense of danger. A silver needle that was flickering with a cold light pierced into the back of Sun Yi's hand, and she instantly felt numb. The Xianyuan sword in Sun Yi's hand fell onto the ground once again. A black silhouette passed through the air, and the Xianyuan sword that was on the ground instantly disappeared. The 3 of them stopped attacking each other at the same time and looked at the 2 people who were walking over from the sky. The back of Sun Yi's hand quickly turned purple. Not daring to be careless, Sun Yi hurriedly swallowed a pill, then sat cross-legged and started refining the pill. Guang Tianlu shouted out gravely, Saint Dr. Song Huang, Fu Xiao. Fu Xiao could be seen holding onto the Xianyuan sword. Seems like that black silhouette just now was him, and the person who was standing at the side with a smile on his face was precisely Saint Dr. Song Huang. With the title of killing people with his left hand and saving people with his right hand, the title of Saint Dr. Song Huang was extremely famous and resounded throughout the entire north. The only difference between Song Huang and Long Outyin was that one appeared earlier, while the other appeared later. One didn't run into Yi Hua, while the other ran into him. The silver needle just now was shot out by Song Huang, and the silver needle was smeared with deadly poison. Of course, Song Huang would not lick the silver needle himself. Meanwhile, Fu Xiao was just an ordinary family's patriarch. His strength was ordinary, but his speed was extremely fast. He was even able to travel through space while running. His ability was a bit overpowered. Fu Xiao could be seen cupping his hands towards Song Huang, who was standing at the side with a faint smile on his face. Thank you, Saint Doctor, for lending me a hand. Patriarch Fu is too courteous. Back then, you helped me. Today, I shall return the favor. Song Huang smiled faintly, appearing very amiable. However, only Sun Yi knew how vicious this Saint Doctor was. Song Huang looked at the Xianyuan sword. He didn't want to own the Xianyuan sword. He preferred to live a free and unfettered life. Since Patriarch Fu has gotten what he wanted, I will take my leave. Thank you. Just as Song Huang was about to leave, he suddenly frowned. It was the same for Fu Xiao. The Xianyuan sword in his hand was vibrating slightly. What was going on? He looked at Xiao Yi, who had fallen to the side. It seemed like he didn't have the strength to control the Xianyuan sword. What was going on? Everyone knew about Fu Xiao. As long as he took something away, it would be very difficult to get it back. After all, his speed was too fast, and there was no way to get it back unless someone was faster. Furthermore, Saint Dr. Song Huang was protecting him, making it even harder to snatch him back. The northern aristocratic families were going back on their words. Sun Yi and the other two were about to go mad from anger. However, the two of them did not leave in a hurry after snatching it. Their expressions were very strange. Fu Xiao, there's a problem with this Xianyuan sword. Quickly throw it away. Song Huang shouted out hurriedly. Without thinking too much, Fu Xiao immediately tossed the Xianyuan sword in his hand out. When Guang Tianlu saw the Xianyuan sword that was in the air, he immediately controlled Icebone Dragon King to bite onto the Xianyuan sword. Xianyuan sword belongs to Guang family. Guang Tianlu had a happy look on his face, and he looked as if he was about to go crazy. However, everyone didn't look at Guang Tianlu. Instead, they looked at the Xianyuan sword that was in Icebone Dragon King's mouth. The body of the sword was trembling very intensely, as if it was being pulled by a powerful force. Boom! Chapter 223. Long and City, Leisure Bar, 10 minutes ago. Yihua was currently sitting on the sofa in his bedroom with both of his legs placed on the coffee table and silently smoking. The family conflict caused Yihua to suffer unspeakably. Both of my hands are flesh. What choice do I have? Impossible. How can I give up my woman? Even if I die, I have to pull her up and continue to be my woman. But these two women are really annoying. One wants to split the child. The other would rather die than submit. How can their personalities be so unyielding? They don't have the gentleness that a woman should have. Subordinate pays respect to your honor. Suddenly, Wei Chang appeared behind Yihua and shouted out respectfully. What's the matter? Yihua asked faintly. Hearing his honor's tone, I can tell that his mood isn't very good. I am also very depressed. Xiao Tang is ignoring me today. How can Tang Wei not be angry? We can clearly live together. But suddenly, two non-mainstream people appeared. Uncle Wei's male chauvinism is too serious. Wei Chang said lightly, Your Honor, subordinate said that I left a bit of aura on Xianyuan sword for your honor to play with, and now, the time is ripe. Oh, that Xiao, he's going to die again? Yihua asked faintly. The situation isn't very optimistic, but he can still keep his life. Yihua shook his head. Seems like I overestimated this Xiao. He can't even kill a few people. It is precisely because of this that his honor is able to play around. After all, his honor's mood isn't very good these few days. Killing a few people can relieve your mood. Wei Chang bowed his body and laughed lightly. As a subordinate, I have to make my boss happy. If I were to use this kind of effort to treat Tang Wei would probably be touched to death and directly push Wei Chang down. Yihua sighed, but his mood isn't very good. I'll just play around then. Wei Chang, it seems like you understand me well. Then, subordinate will not disturb his honor's fun anymore. I will take my leave. After finished speaking, Wei Chang disappeared from the bedroom. Yihua waved his hand, then began searching for the aura that Wei Chang left behind. Very quickly, he found it. There aren't many people here. Killing them won't be of any use. That Xiao Yi is just like a salted fish that is lying on the ground. I am truly disappointed. Yihua could be seen raising his hand and stretching out his index finger, intending to control Xianyuan's sword from a distance. The Xianyuan sword actually dares to resist. Interesting, but in front of me, Xianyuan's sword. In just a few moments, Yihua had already infiltrated into the interior of Xianyuan's sword. Right now, Yihua was lying on the sofa with his eyes closed, and his index finger was slowly moving, as if he was recalling something, recalling those people's terrified expressions. At the venue, Haidaisi looked at the Xianyuan sword floating in the air and rushed over, grabbing it. The Xianyuan sword belongs to the Southern Alliance. Everyone remained silent. and looked at the Xian Yuan sword nervously. What had just happened was too bizarre. The Icebone Dragon King's explosion had injured Guang Tianlu, and Sun Yi was sitting cross-legged to detoxify the poison. There were only a few people present. However, there were a few groups of people hiding in the surroundings. They seemed to want to seize the opportunity to attack, but when they saw the situation, they seemed to calm down. Just as Hai Daisi was overjoyed, the Xian Yuan sword in his right hand actually rotated 360 degrees. Hai Daisi's entire right arm was cut off by the Xian Yuan sword. This sudden scene was inconceivable. Xiao Yi was unconscious. So who was controlling the Xian Yuan sword? Itself? How could this be? The severed arm flew in the air. Yihua's index finger slowly moved, and Xian Yuan's sword could be seen turning into afterimages. The entire arm was sliced into powder by Xian Yuan's sword. Everyone took in a breath of cold air. Right now, I can't even catch up to the arm anymore. Quickly run. Song Huang shouted out loudly. This is a trap. Fu Xiu's speed was extremely fast, and he disappeared in an instant. Yihua laughed lightly. You are quite fast. With a wave of Yihua's finger, Xian Yuan's sword that was thousands of miles away turned into a golden afterimage and rushed straight towards Fu Xiu. Fu Xiu, who was running frantically, turned his head around to take a look, and his eyeballs almost popped out. That Xian Yuan sword actually caught up to me, and it is even at the same level as me. Furthermore, it even swung the sword's body, as if it was mocking me. How is this possible? Fu Xiu found it hard to believe. Even the experts from aristocratic families don't have a speed like mine. This ancient, godly item, Xian Yuan sword, has such an ability? No, it is definitely being controlled by someone. Xian Yuan sword's speed could be seen becoming even faster. When it arrived in front of Fu Xiu, it suddenly drifted. Pucci. His heart turned cold. Fu Xiu stared at the Xian Yuan sword in his stomach in a daze. He still felt like he was dreaming. Initially, Yi Fuqian thought that with his speed and Song Huang's protection, the Xian Yuan sword would definitely be able to pierce through Yi Fuqian's body. And now, the Xian Yuan sword had indeed pierced through Yi Fuqian's abdomen. The Xian Yuan sword dragged Fu Xiu's body back to the scene. Everyone at the scene thought that the Xian Yuan sword had run away, but they didn't expect the Xian Yuan sword to bring Fu Xiu back. Song Huang's face was filled with shock. He was well aware of Fu Xiu's speed. In terms of speed, not many people could be faster than Fu Xiu. However, such a person was actually pierced by the Xian Yuan sword and brought back, not to mention himself and the others. Right now, everyone didn't dare to act blindly without thinking. Ling Tian, who was guarding Xiao Yi and fighting intensely with Tang Wushuang, also stopped when he saw this scene. The Xian Yuan sword tossed Fu Xiu into the air. Yihua's index finger lightly moved, and at the same time, Xian Yuan's sword drew out rays of golden light in the air. Fu Xiu's limbs were amputated in the air, turning into pieces that fell to the ground. It was a chilling scene. Tang Wushuang wasn't in a hurry to think. If he didn't run now, the one who would die later on would be him. Yihua closed his eyes and said coldly, trying to run. No one will be able to escape today. Just like Fu Xiu, Tang Wushuang's abdomen was pierced through and brought back. However, Tang Wushuang didn't die, but rather, he was thrown onto the ground. Ling Tian swallowed his saliva. I've tested Tang Wushuang's strength just now, and he's even more powerful than before. However, he was still pierced through by the Xian Yuan sword. Could it be that it's still Xiao Yi? He pretended to be sick again, but he was actually controlling the Xian Yuan sword to kill people. Act tough, King Xiao. Stop pretending. I know it's you. Ling Tian shook Xiao Yi, but Xiao Yi didn't react. Everyone at the scene knew that whoever ran would die. Even Song Huang descended from the sky and stared at the Xian Yuan sword cautiously. Shua, the Xian Yuan sword disappeared again, and when it reappeared, it was followed by 20 to 30 people, all of whom had lost an arm. Song Huang furrowed his brows. These people were all the higher-ups of the northern forces. It seemed like they were all hiding at the side, observing the situation, or waiting for the right moment to snatch the treasure. Unfortunately, he was too unlucky. Right now, Xin Yuan's sword was just like a big brother, looking down at these people and fluttering back and forth along with Yihua's finger. Sage Doctor, what should we do now? This sword is very strange. One of the people in the group asked gravely. Song Huang shook his head and didn't say anything. Right now, Xin Yuan's sword was like a kidnapper, and I and the others were like hostages. Whether we live or die will be decided by a single thought from Xin Yuan's sword. If Xin Yuan's sword wanted to run away, Xin Yuan's sword would pierce through his heart. Although Tang Wushuang didn't die right now, he wasn't far from death. Alliance Master Hai, are you alright? Guang Tianlu asked weakly. Hai Daisi had already stopped bleeding, but his face was pale. I'm alright, how about you? Chapter 224. Are you guys going to run? The weak Sun Yi slowly walked over and asked. The two of them shook their heads. Running away now was the same as courting death. If they wanted to die, they could run. Yihua lied on the sofa, and his mood became a bit better. Seems like only by doing this can I make myself slightly happy and not think about those two women. Just as Yihua was preparing to deal with those people, Dong Huangli suddenly opened the door and entered the room, then shouted out sweetly, Daddy. Yihua opened his eyes and revealed out a light smile. Ali, what happened? Dong Huangli could be seen running to Yihua's side, then grabbed onto Yihua's hand that was controlling Xin Yuan's sword with both of her hands. Dong Huangli began shaking Xin Yuan's sword violently, then said coquettishly, Daddy, play with Ali. Yihua's index finger shook violently along with Dong Huangli's shaking. Ali, Daddy, is working. Boo-hoo, Papa. Ali misses you. Dong Huangli could be seen increasing the strength of Yihua's hands, and the arc of Yihua's swaying became bigger and bigger, and the speed of Yihua's swaying also became faster and faster. Right now, the Xin Yuan sword was like a drunkard, flying around in the air, making people feel numb. Run. Song Huang shouted out anxiously. Everyone began to run in all directions, but the range of the Xin Yuan sword's swing was getting wider and wider, and its speed was getting faster and faster. Many people were inexplicably cut in half at the waist while running, where their heads were separated from their bodies. Everyone could see that the Xin Yuan sword seemed to be out of control, so they ran even more desperately. The scene suddenly turned into purgatory, and blood flew everywhere. On the other hand, Tang Wushuang, who was lying on the ground, managed to avoid this calamity. On the other hand, Sun Fang's group of 3 were luckier. They quickly fled to the north. Daddy, Ali will bring you to eat chicken. Okay? Ali will let you show off your might in front of Aunt Qing. And perhaps Aunt Qing will forgive you. While acting coquettishly, Dong Huangli shook Yihua's arm. I wonder how many people died when you shook them like that. Okay, Ali will wait for Papa first. Papa will be here soon. Let's pinky swear then. Dong Huangli stretched out her pinky. Of course, Yihua would satisfy his daughter's various requests. After his daughter left, Yihua looked towards the scene, and his expression immediately sunk. The Xin Yuan sword, which was flying around randomly, also stopped moving. They actually ran away. Yihua let out a breath. After thinking for a bit, accompanying my daughter is more important. With a flick of his index finger, Xin Yuan's sword directly stabbed towards the side of Xiao Yi. Ling Tian looked at this scene dumbfoundedly and said to the unconscious Xiao Yi, And you said you weren't acting cool. I've never seen someone so good at pretending. Hurry up and get up. They've already left. Even if you act cool, no one will applaud you. Ling Tian shouted out helplessly. Looking at the Xin Yuan sword in front of him, Ling Tian did not dare to take it. He was afraid that the situation from before would happen again. For example, Tang Wushuang, who was lying on the ground. Just a moment ago, the Xin Yuan sword had accidentally stabbed into his crotch. However, right now, Tang Wushuang's crotch was completely blood red, and his stomach was the same as well. Not long after, Xiao Yi woke up. Big brother Xiao, you're finally awake. Ling Tian exclaimed as he supported Xiao Yi. What's wrong? Xiao Yi asked blankly. Ling Tian rolled his eyes. Brother Xiao, I know you're humble, But if you continue to be so humble, you won't have any friends. Xiao Yi was confused and expressed that he really didn't know. She helped Xiao Yi to stand up. Brother Xiao, what should we do with that Tang Wushuang? Ling Tian looked towards Tang Wushuang, who was on the verge of death, and asked. Xiao Yi took a look, then said gravely, whether he lives or dies will depend on his own luck. Xiao, you don't owe him anymore. Ling Tian nodded his head, then brought Xiao Yi along and wanted to go back. After the two left, a man appeared. With his brows wrinkled, he looked at his phone. F***, he's gone again. I'm going to cut off one of his legs when I go back. This man was precisely Gui Chengran, Tang Wushuang's master. Looking at his disciple's miserable state, Gui Chengran shook his head. This disciple is truly making me lose face. Master, save me. Tang Wushuang stretched out his bloody hand. Gui Chengran said coldly, Don't touch me. I look very dirty. Master, Tang Wushuang shouted out weakly. Gui Chengran was helpless. With a wave of his hand, the two disappeared from the scene. The entire world returned back to normal, and the black clouds in the sky gradually dispersed as well. Only the bloodstains on the ground could prove that a battle had happened here. Yihua, who was in the bedroom, thought for a while, then decided to contact Wei Chong. I can't let them off so easily. Your Honor, are you feeling better now? Wei Chong appeared in the bedroom and asked respectfully. Yihua let out a sigh. I was interrupted by Ali. Your Honor definitely didn't do it on purpose. I naturally know that, which is why I called you over. Go and deal with those people from just now. Yihua said faintly. Wei Chong remained silent for a moment, then said, Your Honor, subordinate has something that I don't know if I should say or not. Speak. This time, the North and the South had an agreement beforehand. If the 3 people from the South died in the North, I think it would be even better. Yihua was startled. I didn't expect that Wei Chong would have such a realization. Wei Chong, your recent performance is very good. If you have any requests, you can let me know. Yihua was very happy. It is a good thing for subordinates to have brains, especially Wei Chong. From not having a brain to having a brain, the change is really big. Wei Chong didn't dare to be greedy and said hurriedly, although Your Honor didn't say it out, in actuality, you were trying to test subordinates' adaptability. Fortunately, subordinate answered correctly. Yihua was startled, and his expression was a bit flabbergasted. Soon after, Yihua revealed out a smile. To be able to see through my true intentions, Wei Chong, you are truly becoming more and more creative. Subordinate doesn't dare to. It is all because of Your Honor's guidance. In actuality, subordinate doesn't have any requests. I just hope that Your Honor can give subordinate a raise in salary. After all, I have a girlfriend now, and my expenses are somewhat unable to keep up. Wei Chong indeed didn't have any money right now. Sometimes, he would even use Xiao Tang's money to refuel the Porsche. Yihua nodded his head. This is all a small matter. I will double your salary. Thank you, Your Honor. Wei Chong hurriedly kowtowed and thanked Yihua. All right, who do you intend to call to deal with those 3 people? Yihua asked curiously. Green and Red Brothers, they need combat experience right now. I will use them for Green and Red Brothers to train. Yihua said faintly, That's fine too. In the future, give them more missions to increase their combat experience. And with that, they will be able to protect Ali in the future. Yes, you can leave now. After Wei Chong left, Yihua rubbed onto his hair and muttered to himself. When did this Wei Chong become so smart? I, the Supreme Overlord, am not used to it. However, in the end, it was still a good thing. Yihua arrived at Qing Yutong's room and saw that his daughter and Yi Zizi were currently playing games, and Qing Yutong was nowhere to be seen. Daddy, Ali has already started fighting by herself. You can go back to sleep. Dong Wang Li was very serious when fighting against Yi Zizi, because she was fighting against Yi Zizi. Big cousin, big sister Qing went to your office. She was called over by big sister-in-law. Yi Zizi added. Yihua's eyes shone. I hope that Qing Yutong's guidance will be useful. Let's go and listen to what they are talking about first. Forget it. I'm not the kind of person who eavesdrops on others. If word of this got out, wouldn't people laugh their heads off? Chapter 225. In the office. Chinya's surroundings were filled with crumpled napkins. Chinya was currently wiping away her tears, looking very pitiful. Qin Yutong sat in front of her big sister and sized her up attentively. It is good that big sister is able to cry and get angry. At least it proves that big sister still cares about you. If he really didn't care, then he would be in an ordinary state. This scoundrel, I'm going to freeze his card. Finished speaking, Chinya took out her phone and called the bank, freezing Yihua's card. Yihua, who was outside the door, almost rushed in. Just a moment ago, I had just agreed to give Wei Chang a raise, and in the blink of an eye, you froze my card. How am I going to be the boss? Chinya choked with sobs and said, "Ooh, I want to see how he's going to eat crayfish. Yutong, your brother-in-law is too much of a bully. Big sister, this is already very good." Qin Yutong consoled, then took out a tissue and passed it to her big sister. While sobbing, Chinya asked, "This is still all right?" "Of course. Brother-in-law wanted to take me into his harem. Didn't you come to give me condoms?" Qin Yutong, I didn't call you over to talk nonsense. I called you over to think of a solution. Chinya shouted angrily and shyly. Even at this time, you're still making this kind of joke. Yihua, who was outside the door, really wanted to smack his butt. Your big sister is already angry to that extent, and you are still adding fuel to the fire. Qin Yutong could be heard saying attentively, "Big sister, let's take a step back and think about it. This is brother-in-law's past romance, and there is also Ali. I'm afraid that brother-in-law doesn't know about these matters. If brother-in-law knew, he would have brought Ali back long ago. These few days, you have also seen brother-in-law's attitude towards Ali. This means that brother-in-law indeed doesn't know about it." Qin Yutong was also judging the matter as it was, and was impartial. Yihua, who was standing at the doorway, silently nodded his head. There is no problem with Yutong's explanation. But that woman is really beautiful. Brother-in-law is tempted. Qin Yutong's following words caused Yihua's expression to darken. What do you mean by not being moved? She is already my woman. Is there still a need for me to be moved? All he had to do was take action. Hearing that, Qin Ya's tears became bigger. Your brother-in-law is a playboy. I didn't know it before, but now I see through him. Sis, which man isn't fickle? Those who aren't fickle are all gay. Qin Yutong, your sister, have been cheated, and you're still smiling. Qin Yutong laughed bitterly. Big sister, you said that brother-in-law lied to you. But just what did he lie to you about? In any case, he is lying. If not for the fact that Qinya was pregnant, Yihua would have really wanted to smack her, but forcefully accuse her of something. Did brother-in-law lie to you to go to bed with him? Or did he lie to you to do that? Qin Yutong's eyebrows twitched and said, "You know what I mean." Qin Yutong, get out. Big sister, think back to those days when you two were on your honeymoon. That scene of you two kissing passionately in front of me, and Yi Zizi, and that fragrant tongue of yours had even reached in a brother-in-law's mouth. Tiske, tiske, tiske. Just looking at it made my entire body go numb, scram. Chinya's face flushed red, then picked up the pillow and threw it towards Qin Yutong. Qin Yutong let out a breath, then persuaded. Actually, I feel that brother-in-law is really very good, and he is also very attentive towards big sister. Other than him liking to act cool, drinking and smoking, he doesn't seem to have any bad habits. Isn't that a bad habit? All that's left is the yellow gambling. Brother-in-law doesn't like that kind of thing. He likes big sister's kind of thing. Qin Yutong teased. Get out, get out. I don't want to listen to your crooked reasoning. Your brother-in-law definitely gave you benefits. Qin Yutong placed both of her hands on her waist. Big sister, you can insult my person, but you can't insult my character. Qin Yutong, in any case, was born as a young pioneer. I will reject all bribes. Last night, I even spat at brother-in-law and asked him to divorce you. Qin, you could be heard crying out in surprise, then immediately felt that her reaction was too big, so she immediately turned her face away. Qin Yutong had a look of disdain on her face. Even someone like you can still get angry. Just talking about divorce, you're already so nervous. Didn't you see brother-in-law's expression at that time? It was as if his wife had died. Qing Yutong, who are you cursing to die? Big sister, I'm just making an analogy. I might as well act it out for you. Qing Yutong coughed lightly and put on Yi Hua's expression. Suddenly, Qing Yutong's expression collapsed, then said pleadingly, Yutong, quickly go and beg your big sister for me. I can't live without her. If your big sister were to leave, don't even think about living anymore. Yi Hua took a deep breath. If I mess up with Qing Yutong, then I will really teach you a lesson. Furthermore, would I, the supreme overlord, go and beg a woman like this? What a joke. Yutong, your acting is a bit exaggerated. Yi Hua wouldn't say something like this at all. Qing Yi could be said to understand Yi Hua. He is a person who cares about his face no matter what. Don't mind those details. Brother-in-law talked with me for an hour last night. Don't even mention how miserable he was. Thinking back to last night, brother-in-law even killed a few people. And in the end, under Yi Zizi's lead, brother-in-law won the chicken dinner. All right, I don't want to listen anymore. You can go out. Qinya felt that she couldn't continue listening. The more she listened, the softer her heart became. I have to be a bit firmer, right? I have to be firm in my conviction. Qing Yutong felt that it was about time. Looking at Big Sister, she doesn't seem to be the kind that wants to die. She is just jealous, that's all. Yi Hua immediately spread out and pretended to go upstairs. After closing the door, Qing Yutong laughed tenderly. Brother-in-law, stop pretending. You heard everything, right? This sister-in-law sure doesn't give me any face. What's the situation with your big sister? Yi Hua asked gravely. Qing Yutong's eyebrows twitched, and she had a look that said, you understand, on her face. We are going to eat meat tonight. I won't leave you out. Yi Hua said petulantly. Thank you, brother-in-law. In actuality, my big sister is just jealous. There isn't any big problem. Brother-in-law, if you leave her out for half a month, I guarantee that big sister will run over to reconcile with you. Qing Yutong said very casually, having a look as if she had been through this before. Yi Hua felt that this won't do. Qing Yi is serious this time. Qing Yi could be heard adding a sentence. Brother-in-law, sometimes when it's time to be hard, you should be hard. What do you mean? My big sister is just an ordinary person. You tell me how I should be hard. Qing Yutong rolled her eyes at Yi Hua. You don't even understand this. Yi Hua immediately understood what Qing Yutong meant and said gravely, get hard. Brother-in-law, do your best, get hard a few more times. Big sister will naturally be convinced. Yutong, after this crisis is over, tell brother-in-law what you want. Yi Hua was very generous. As long as I am able to make Qing Yi change her mind, I am willing to give you Thanos. Qing Yutong pouted her mouth. Brother-in-law, you are penniless right now. You better take care of yourself first. I don't have any money. After finished speaking, Qing Yutong slipped away. Yi Hua let out a light breath. After coaxing Qing Yi, I will naturally have money. How can I let this little rich woman slip away so easily? Now is the time for me to be hard. Yi Hua pushed open the office door. Yutong, I don't want to talk to you right now. Qing Yi said, it's me. Qing Yi could be seen taking a look at Yi Hua, then immediately lied down and turned her back towards Yi Hua. What are you doing here? Get out. Qing Yi shouted coldly. Yi Hua walked to the front of the sofa and said faintly, Qing Yi, I will give you 1 second to change your mind. If not, don't blame me for using hard methods. Yi Hua, don't think that I, Qing Yi, am afraid of you. Are you getting up or not? Go and die. Chapter 226. Yi Hua could be seen hugging on a Qing Yi, and Qing Yi cried out in surprise. Yi Hua, what are you doing? We are quarreling. You can't do this to me. So what? I will do whatever I want to do. Yi Hua shouted out gravely, while Qing Yi was punching and kicking Yi Hua. Don't move. Be careful of a child. Yi Hua shouted out coldly. In actuality, even if Qing Yi were to kill Yi Hua, nothing would happen to the child. The power of bloodline was not something that could be aborted so easily. Qing Yi's face was as cold as ice as she said coldly, Yi Hua, please respect me. Then have you ever respected me? Don't tell me that I don't treat you well. Yi Hua questioned. This woman is just an unreasonable woman. How big of a deal is this? I, the Supreme Overlord, already have so many wives, and if I, the Supreme Overlord, have one more wife, I will die. Chinya seemed to be unable to refute this question, and said, in any case, you are a swindler, deceiving my feelings. I don't want you to hug me. Put me down. Come down? That's impossible. Don't you realize that you're stinking? I haven't showered for almost a day. Chinya wrinkled her eyebrows. It seems that I haven't taken a bath for almost a day. In actuality, Chinya's body was still very fragrant, and Yihua said that intentionally. Carrying Chinya to the bedroom, he threw her into the bathroom and said, wash it properly, it's so smelly. After saying that, he closed the door, and the sound of smashing could be heard from inside. If it's broken, call someone to fix it yourself. Yihua shouted out, then laid on the bed and waited. It has been almost a day since I hugged this woman, and I miss her a lot. As soon as he said this, the smashing inside became even fiercer. A trace of a smile appeared on the corner of Yihua's mouth. I, the Supreme Overlord, like this kind of woman. Hugging a woman like this is much more comfortable. Half an hour later, Chinya walked out of the room, took a look at Yihua, then prepared to directly run out of the room. Yihua laughed. Chinya, you're still too childish. Don't you understand what I'm thinking? Chinya naturally understood. Isn't she preparing to run away now? Just that, before she could even reach the door, her body floated up and floated towards Yihua's embrace. Yihua, you can't be this shameless. Chinya, who was floating in the sky, shouted out. I am a cultivator. What can you do to me? Chinya almost exploded from anger as she said indignantly, if you dare to touch me, I will. I will. Yihua caught on to Chinya and hugged her tightly into his embrace, then asked curiously, what are you planning to do? I'll bite you to death. After finished speaking, it really bit towards Yihua's arm. Yihua laughed bitterly. Last time, he was threatened by Qin Yutong and had his skin cut open by a knife, and now, he was bitten by Chinya. The pain that I'm feeling right now is all caused by these two women. This is truly depressing. Chinya bit down very fiercely, and when the taste of blood came out from her mouth, she woke up. When she opened her mouth to take a look, a row of teeth marks could be seen, and the skin was bitten through. Are you happy now? Taking this rare opportunity, Yihua questioned coldly. Chinya didn't dare to look straight at him and said indignantly, let go of me, otherwise I'll bite again. Then bite it. It's best if you can break it. You, how did you become a scoundrel? Chinya tried to struggle free from Yihua's embrace, but unfortunately, she did not have enough strength. Yihua didn't say anything and hugged Dongwang Baiji tightly. This is so comfortable. I wonder how Dongwang Baiji will feel when hugging me. It's a pity that if she wants to get on my bed, she still needs to practice a lot more. After a long while, Chinya asked coldly, aren't you a cultivator? You can't even heal this little bit of injury? Yihua replied faintly, why would I need to heal it? I'm just waiting for the wound to get infected, then I'll amputate it. When the child grows up and asks me, I'll tell him that it was your mother who broke it. Chinya looked at Yihua in disbelief. Shameless. After another 10 minutes passed, Chinya saw that the wound was still bleeding, and she was very worried. What if the wound really gets infected and I have to amputate it? This is a scoundrel to use self-torture to threaten me. Let go of me, Chinya shouted out coldly. Not letting go. I'll go get the medicine box and help you bandage your wound, lest you become a one-armed hero. Chinya said angrily, you have a woman and a child outside, and you still want me to comfort you? Yihua was delighted. Seems like what I said on the internet is somewhat effective. Yihua let go of Chinya. Chinya took out the medicine box, then placed it on the bed, then carefully disinfected and bandaged the wound. Looking at Chinya's serious look, Yihua said lightly, not angry anymore? Do you think that's possible? Chinya said coldly. Yihua retracted his hand. Then don't bandage my wound anymore. Let me become a one-armed hero. When the child is born, I'll tell him about it. You, why are you acting like a child? Chinya said angrily. You even want to snitch on a child? Have you never seen it before? None of your business. Yi Hua snorted coldly. Give me your hand. Yi Hua said, not taking it. Are you taking it or not? Qingya, we are quarreling right now. Stand properly at your position. Yi Hua said faintly. His current appearance was really asking for a beating. Meanwhile, Qingya was indeed quite angered. I helped you out of goodwill, and yet you still say such words. You are bullying me too much. Go and die then. Qingya snorted, then turned her face away and ignored Yi Hua, but she didn't get off the bed. After a long while, Yi Hua took a glance at Qingya and said faintly, Qingya, let's reconcile, stop quarreling. We are quarreling. Please stand properly at your position. All right. The Supreme Overlord was counterattacked by his wife again. Yi Hua's head is really aching. I might as well just beat her up and let her know how powerful I am, but I am reluctant to. I am so conflicted. It's swollen. Yi Hua could be heard crying out in surprise. Qingya immediately turned her head around and looked at the wound, and it was indeed swollen. Why are you so troublesome? Qingya said angrily as she took out the medicine to disinfect the wound. A trace of a sneaky smile appeared on the corner of Yi Hua's mouth. Making the skin swell is just a small matter. I'm still able to control it. And you still dare to say that you don't care about me. Why are you so nervous? This woman is just saying one thing, but thinking the other. What Yu Tong said is completely correct. Tonight, I'll be able to hug her to sleep again, comfortable. Now, little Ali is also going to be with me. Life is actually so perfect, I'm going to extend my vacation this time. Eat some anti-inflammatory medicine. Qingya took out 2 amoxicillin. Water. You really are a big uncle. Although Qingya said that, she still went to pour water for Yi Hua. Looking at Qingya's back view, Yi Hua mumbled, Qingya, I really don't know what my life would be like without you. Qingya, who was pouring water for Yi Hua, paused for a moment, then said faintly, without me, you would still be able to live your life as usual, and there would still be Dongwang Baiji to take care of you. But I just like you. Yi Hua, let me tell you, it is already too late for you to say words of love to me now. I will not listen to you. Yi Hua placed the cup on the bedside table heavily, and the water splashed out. The internet is all lies. I don't believe it anymore. Yi Hua has a temper. I have never lowered myself before. Just now, I already said so much, yet you still don't want to give me face. Qingya, let me tell you, you are going to fall into my hands for the rest of your life. Even if I have to tie you up, I will still tie you up with me. Yi Hua, you bastard. Chapter 227. Qingya immediately jumped onto the bed and sat on Yi Hua's body, then picked up a pillow and started smashing it. Meanwhile, Yi Hua turned over and pressed Qingya down, then shouted out coldly, You dare to hit me. So what if I hit you? Right at this moment, the door was pushed open, and when Dong Wangli saw the scene inside, she cried out in surprise, Daddy, you have reconciled with Aunt Qing. This is great. Qingya used all her strength to push Yi Hua away. Yi Hua didn't want to hurt Qingya, so he didn't use any strength. He got up and carried his daughter. Ali, your Aunt Qing came over to admit her mistake. Qingya was very angry, but she didn't say anything. After all, it wasn't good to do so in front of a child. Daddy is so handsome, Dong Wangli gave a thumbs up. Nothing is better than being able to correct one's mistakes. Do you remember that, Ali? Dong Wangli nodded her head, then said, Daddy, Ali is tired from playing. I want to sleep now. Can you let Aunt Qing accompany Ali to sleep? Aunt Qing didn't sleep well last night either. Yi Hua knew that Qingya wouldn't reject Ali. After all, now that the two of them were familiar with each other, he would be able to relax a bit. Dong Wangli blinked her big eyes in. Qingya, take good care of Ali. After placing his daughter on the bed, Yi Hua said faintly. Qingya's emotions were actually very complicated. Firstly, she liked how obedient and sensible Ali was, and secondly, Ali was Yi Hua's child with another woman. It would be a lie to say that Yi Hua didn't have any enmity towards that woman. However, after hearing what that woman said, she was actually quite pitiful. She came to find Yi Hua while pregnant, but Yi Hua ignored her and she even gave birth to the child and raised the child by himself. If it wasn't for Ali running away from home this time and coming here because of the game, Yihua probably wouldn't even know that he had a child outside. Both of them were pitiful women. However, Ali was angered by Yihua's lies and that arrogant look on his face. He clearly did something wrong, yet he didn't repent at all, and even said that it was someone else's fault. Even if you're a cultivator, you can't be so rude and unreasonable. I am your wife, not your mistress. Yihua closed the door and told them to get along with each other, while he went downstairs to teach Dongwang Baiji a lesson. I have to teach these women a lesson and let them know how to be a qualified wife. Especially this Dongwang Baiji. To be precise, this is the second time I've met her, and my daughter is already almost 3 years old. I really didn't expect this. Coming downstairs, Yihua saw that Dongwang Baiji was currently sitting on the broken bar counter and drinking wine. Dongwang Baiji's gaze was currently blurred. Without the support of spiritual energy, Dongwang Baiji was just like an ordinary person. Thus, it was only natural that she would get drunk very quickly. Looking at Dongwang Baiji's current state, Yihua let out a sigh. If I'd come down back then, I reckon that Qinya wouldn't have gotten involved in this. It's fortunate that I didn't come down. If not, I wouldn't have been able to come across Qinya. It was just that he owed her. Yihua walked over and sat beside Dongwang Baiji, then poured himself a cup of wine. Just like that, the two of them drank one cup after another without saying a word. Does your butt still hurt? In the end, Yihua couldn't help but ask. Dongwang Baiji had won this battle of silence. When had Dongwang Baiji ever been spanked before? Dongwang Baiji sneered. Didn't you have a good time spanking me? If you didn't make me angry, why would I hit you? Yihua said calmly. If it was another man, he would definitely beg and apologize to Dongwang Baiji. This way, Dongwang Baiji's heart would soften, and perhaps Dongwang Baiji might even reconcile with Dongwang Baiji. After all, when Dongwang Baiji came to Voidless Realm, she had already thought about it. If Yihua apologized sincerely for the sake of her daughter's future, Dongwang Baiji planned to bring Yihua to Voidless Realm. In the end, I didn't expect that Yihua wasn't an ordinary person and was even more formidable than me. From what Dongwang Baiji had said, it could be seen that Dongwang Baiji was still willing to bear some of the rumors and slanders. As an empress, marrying an ordinary man was a joke in and of itself. However, for the sake of her daughter, Dongwang Baiji was still firm in her decision. Of course, this was what he thought before he came. From this, it could be seen just how important Dongwang Li was in Dongwang Baiji's heart. Dongwang Li's feelings towards Yihua were very vague. Dongwang Li bore grudges against Dongwang Baiji for 3 years, worried about Dongwang Li for 3 years, and thought about Dongwang Li for 3 years. Every time she saw her daughter, she would think of Yihua. Yihua's figure had long since taken root in Dongwang Baiji's heart. When Dongwang Baiji heard that Yihua had gotten married, Dongwang Baiji became angry and decided to make Yihua cuckold to take revenge on him. Unfortunately, he was caught before he could take his revenge. Why didn't you come down during those few days? Dongwang Baiji held on her chin and asked. Why is this woman always tangling with this question? Is there any meaning to it? It has already been so long. Perhaps, to Yihua, this question might not be important. However, to Dongwang Baiji, this was a question that she had to decide whether to forgive or not. Yihua became silent. What should I say? I was in a bad mood during those few days because Lai Gu bit off the internet cable while dreaming, causing me to not be able to watch Calabash Brothers. This is all Lai Gu's fault. If Lai Gu wasn't dreaming, he wouldn't have bitten off the internet cable. If Lai Gu didn't bite off the internet cable, my mood might have been pretty good. Perhaps I would have come down and lived with Qinya. At thinking about it, Lai Gu's bite on the internet cable was pretty good. After pondering for a while, Yihua said faintly, "It wasn't convenient for me during those few days." Hearing Yihua's explanation, Dongwang Baiji laughed at herself. "It wasn't convenient for you. Did your aunt come?" "Aunt? I don't have any relatives." Yihua still didn't understand the meaning of aunt, and he was still thinking about the relationship between being inconvenient and aunt. Dong Huang Baiji laughed. If you don't even understand this, how can you be a man? What's she talking about? This woman can't be drunk, right? If you still insist on what happened 3 years ago, I will slowly make it up to you in the future. As a man, I still have to put an end to the things that happened 3 years ago and do what I have to do. After all, only when my family is in harmony will I be able to show off my abilities in the outside world. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the mood to bother about those trivial things anymore. Make it up to me? How do you want to make it up to me? Do you want to piece my shattered heart back together? Dong Wang Baiji lied on the bar counter and laughed while resting her head on her arms, looking like she was very drunk. Letting out a breath, Yi Hua took a sip of wine and said faintly, "You can make it up to me however you want." "Hee, I don't need it. I only want Ali. We're living very well. There is no need for you to come in." Bang! The wine glass in Yi Hua's hand was crushed into pieces. This woman sure is thick-headed. "What? You want to hit me again? Go ahead and hit me. It would be best if you hit me to death. This way, no one will disturb you anymore." Hearing what Qingya said, Yi Hua immediately became angry. Back then, even Qingya didn't do this to me. At most, she would only threaten me and say things like perishing together with me. Why do these women always like to use death to threaten me? If you are my woman, I wouldn't care whether you live or die. Yi Hua stood up and said coldly, "Don't worry, I won't hit you. But you can forget about leaving this bar in your entire life." After finished speaking, Yi Hua turned around and went upstairs. Chapter 228. The wine bottle smashed onto the air wall and fell onto the ground. Dong Wang Baiji lied on the bar counter and cried bitterly, just like a child. Even 3 years ago, Dong Wang Baiji had never cried like this before. Hearing the crying sound that was coming from downstairs, Yi Hua let out a heavy sigh. "I really don't know what I should do. Please help me. I, the Supreme Overlord, am waiting for you. It's very urgent." Inside Wei Chang's rented room, currently, he was drinking the wolfberry ginseng tea that Tang Wei brewed. He felt that his entire body had been warm for the past few days, as if he was going to explode. Moreover, the more he put in the wolfberries, the more he had to drink. He had to drink several cups a day. In Tang Wei's words, this tea was good for the body and could even cure illnesses. Wei Chang was puzzled. He wasn't sick, so why did he need to be treated? But looking at Tang Wei's concerned expression, it seemed as if he had contracted an incurable disease. "You two, come over here. I have a mission for you." Wei Chang shouted at the Green and Red brothers. At this time, the Green and Red brothers were also drinking wolfberry tea. This was because all the boiled water in this house had wolfberry in it. They really didn't understand why those old uncles in the village drank it like this. Looking at Wei Chang's age, and then thinking about Tang Wei's age, Wei Chang immediately understood. When one reached middle age, they had no choice. All men understood. The two of them walked over with a smile on their faces. Uncle Wei said that there was a mission. Could it be that the boss was chased out of the house? Or was he going to do some cleaning? Or should he go downstairs to buy groceries? Currently, the Green and Red brothers had already changed their hairstyles. Their hairstyles were 50-50, and they were parted in the middle. It seemed like he had recognized someone as his boss. It had to be said that the Green and Red brothers had become a lot more refreshing after changing to the 50-50 development style. However, their hair was still relatively long. It had already reached their chins. Not to mention that it looked a little artistic. Of course, the color was still the same. He was also wearing a trench coat, which matched with his hair color. He was simply awesome. Wherever he went, he was a beautiful scenery. He could even be a traffic light. "Uncle Wei, are we going to buy groceries? I think we should buy some vegetables." Big Brother Green was also a bit irritable. "Uncle Wei, I don't have a girlfriend. Unlike you, Uncle Wei." Little Brother Red nodded his head earnestly. "Uncle Wei, eating these vegetables is really good. It can help to lower one's body temperature." Wei Chang felt that what the two said made sense. "That's true. Let's buy some vegetables tonight." "All right, we will definitely complete the mission." The Green and Red brothers stood up and stretched out their hands. "I want money." Cough. "The mission I'm talking about isn't asking you to go buy vegetables, but to go buy vegetables after you finish the mission." Wei Chang added. He was almost misled by them. Big Brother Green instantly clapped his hands. I knew that Uncle Wei wouldn't give us this kind of mission. No matter what, we're already people in the same circle. We're definitely going to punish evil and promote good. Big Bro, I think we're going to be famous. Look at our outfits. When the reporters come to interview us, we should look presentable. Little brother, don't worry. Our traffic light combination will definitely explode in popularity. Cheers! Cheers! Wei Chang said indifferently. Go kill 3 people. Puff! Puff! The green and red brothers spat at each other. Then they slowly turned their heads around and asked curiously, Uncle Wei, are you sure you're not going to save 3 people? You guys need to practice your killing skills more. It just so happens that 3 people offended the boss today. Go and deal with them. When the time comes, put the corpses in a conspicuous place. The green and red brothers swallowed their saliva forcefully. Why did they suddenly jump from buying groceries to killing someone? They really couldn't get used to it. There had to be a transition period, right? Like beating someone up first. Then he was beaten to a cripple. Then his arms and legs were dislocated. There was no such process at all. You guys aren't afraid, right? Didn't you guys say that you guys have quite a few lives in your hands last night in the village? You guys didn't even blink when you guys attacked viciously? Wei Chang asked curiously. What the heck? Which man doesn't brag? Furthermore, when I killed the chicken, I indeed attacked viciously. One slash, I already have over 100 lives in my hands. Big Brother Green tightly wrinkled his brows and said hesitantly, Uncle Wei, you can be at ease. Offending the boss means offending little Ollie. That means offending his brothers. I guarantee that we will complete the mission. Not bad. The boss will definitely appreciate your thoughts. I will give you guys 5 minutes to prepare. We will set off after 5 minutes. The green and red brothers turn around, and their expressions immediately collapsed. Walking to the side, they whispered to each other. Big Bro, what should we do? What else can we do? Take out our weapons and fight. But I'm afraid. What are you afraid of? We are originally wanted criminals. Later on, it will be perfectly justifiable for us to be wanted criminals. Little Brother Red covered onto his face. Why do I feel that life is becoming more and more exciting? If we follow the boss, we will definitely become famous in the future. That's right. Not only will we become famous, we will also set things on fire. 5 minutes later, the two finished preparing and stood neatly in front of Wei Chang, waiting for further instructions for Wei Chang. Wei Chang picked up the thermos, then waved his hand, and a black whirlpool appeared in the living room. You guys follow me. The green and red brothers took a deep breath, then followed Wei Chang and stepped into the black whirlpool. Big Bro, we aren't going to fight across planets, right? I'm not afraid of fighting across planets, but I'm afraid of fighting across galaxies. Walking into the whirlpool, taking a look at the blue sky and white clouds, Little Brother Red pointed at an eagle and shouted, Big Bro, quickly look, even the eagle is flying so low. Feeling that something was wrong, Big Brother Green slowly lowered his head, and cold sweat was already dripping out of his body. Little Brother Red followed his big bro's gaze and looked over. The two froze. They were actually standing at a height of a few thousand meters. Wei Chang looked towards the north and said casually, You guys wait here. Uncle Wei, what about our target? The green and red brothers held onto each other's hands and asked, The 3 people that are coming over later will be our target. After finished speaking, Uncle Wei opened a thermos and drank a mouthful of wolfberry tea, then walked into the black whirlpool and disappeared. The green and red brothers remained silent for a moment, and their nervous expression gradually became excited. Big Bro, we can fly now. That's right. We have become birds. Big Brother Green let out a sigh. A few days ago, I was still starving on the road, and today I became a Superman, the kind of Superman that kills people. Indeed, looking from the ground, there was a green and a red big bird in the sky. Just as the two brothers were getting excited, 3 black dots flew towards them at high speed. They were precisely Sun E and the others who were running for their lives. Big Bro, they are here. Little Brother Red suddenly became nervous. I saw them. I'm not blind. Big Brother Green was very nervous too. It is fine for me to go and scare people, but to kill people, I am not mentally prepared at all. Looking at the figures getting closer and closer, little brother Red suddenly asked, "Big bro, in the wuxiao movies, everyone has to hold on to their own name. How are we going to report to them? Watch me later." Big brother Green had already thought of what to do. Little brother Red became relieved. Big bro is indeed smart and quick-witted. When Sun E and the others saw the Green and Red brothers that were not far away from them, they were very puzzled. "Alliance Master Hai, are they your people?" Guang Tianlu asked. After all, the way those two dressed up was very strange, and they seemed to be people from the Esper world. Hai Daisy shook his head. "Although we, the people from the Esper world, are all hidden within the cities, we still have our own identities. Why would we dress up like that?" Chapter 229. Guang Tianlu said gravely, "We have yet to leave the northern region. Could it be that we are here?" The three's expression became grave. "Seems like we are in danger." Adding on the fact that we are injured, the situation has become even worse. In the blink of an eye, the three arrived in front of the Green and Red brothers. Looking at Sun E, the Green and Red brothers swallowed their saliva. "Why is there a woman here? This woman is so beautiful. Wouldn't it be a pity to kill her?" "Who are you guys?" Sun E shouted out. "Although I am injured, I can't reveal my injuries right now. I have to pretend." Big brother Green snorted. "Since you are asking me sincerely, I shall be merciful and tell you. I am buried, love family's green protector." After finished speaking, he made a very cool pose. Very quickly, little brother Red understood and made a pose first, then shouted out, "I am buried love family's red protector." The three were very puzzled. When did the buried love family appear in the south? Why is the name so strange? Furthermore, these two people look very silly. "Why are you guys blocking our way?" Hai Daisy asked. Just as Big Brother Green was about to speak, a wrench fell out from his windbreaker, and little brother Red grabbed onto it reflexively. An awkward atmosphere pervaded the air. The Green and Red brothers were communicating with each other with their eyes. "Big brother, we are assassins. We cannot expose ourselves." "I know, but the wrench fell out." "Big brother, just speak some nonsense. We can only do this." Big brother Green took over the wrench and said with a smile, "As a mechanic, it should be normal for me to bring along a wrench, right?" Right after he finished speaking, a plastic water pipe fell out from little brother Red's windbreaker. Little brother Red hurriedly caught onto it, and with an unnatural expression, he scratched on his red hair. As a water and electricity installer, it should be fine for me to bring along a plastic water pipe, right?" Sun E and the other two's expressions were very strange. They were completely stupefied by the two people in front of them. A wrench and a plastic water pipe. They were probably preparing for a street fight. Suddenly, a kitchen knife fell out from Big Brother Green's windbreaker, and Big Brother Green immediately grabbed onto the kitchen knife. "Damn, Big Brother, you even took out a kitchen knife." Big Brother Green glared at his little brother, then explained to the three people, "Actually, I'm not only a repairman, but also a sharpener." In order to prove his occupation, Big Brother Green coughed lightly, then shouted out, "Sharpen scissors, sharpen kitchen knife." Especially when he dragged out the last syllable, it made people believe him without a doubt. "Big brother, you're awesome. Everyone at the entrance of the village always calls you that. I didn't expect you to learn it so well." Sun E and the other two were greatly shocked, but they were also very angry. They were actually played by these two people. "I'm the sect leader of Cloud Sect. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and scram." Sun E shouted. After hearing the other party's name, the Green and Red brothers were a little stunned. Big Brother Cloud Sect. In the novels, they're all very awesome existences. Big Brother Green rubbed his chin. "I heard that many of the protagonists started their counterattacks in the Cloud Sect." "That's right. What trash, broken engagement, and all sorts of golden fingers. I reckon that this sect master is about to be defeated by the main character. Perhaps the protagonist is currently playing with fire sticks in the woodshed of the Yun sect. Maybe he was slandered by eldest senior brother, and is now slapping himself in the face. Maybe he's in Junior's sister's room. The two of them laughed at each other. Hearing these two people insulting Cloud Sect, Sun Yi was very angry. But after hearing what they said, she realized that there was indeed a disciple in Cloud Sect who was very outstanding and had caused quite a lot of big things recently. How dare you talk behind my Cloud Sect's back? Watch my sword. Sun Yi condensed a sharp sword, and with a sharp killing intent, she attacked. Facing the incoming sword, Green and Red brothers went into a daze, especially Little Brother Red. Little Brother Red immediately closed his eyes, not daring to look at the incoming sword Chi. Stretching out both of his hands, Little Brother Red had an expression that seemed to be saying, "Don't hit me." Ding, a light sound rang out in Little Brother Red's ears. Feeling that his palm was a bit itchy, Little Brother Red slowly opened his eyes. He saw the tip of the sword stabbing into his palm, but it did not pierce through. What was going on? Fake sword? Little Brother Red pinched onto the tip of the sword. Ka! The clear and melodious sound gave Little Brother Red a fright. The entire sharp sword could be seen breaking apart from the tip of the sword, and in the end, only the sword hilt in Sun Yi's hand remained. Everyone fell silent. Even Big Brother Green was stupefied. Little brother, how did you do it? Big Brother Green asked curiously. I don't know, I just touched it. Then I'll give it a try too. After saying that, Big Brother Green moved towards Sun Yi's body. Little Brother Red shouted out loudly, "You're so lowly. What I'm touching is the sword, yet you're touching a person." Sun Yi came back to her senses, and her eyes focused. Her left hand turned into a palm, and a surge of spiritual energy erupted from the center of her palm. The large and small palms collided. Pa! Sun Yi was directly sent flying, and a large amount of blood spurted out of her mouth. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock. Haidaisi and Guang Tianlu were both stupefied. That red hair touched the sword, and the sword shattered. That green hair didn't seem to use much strength, but he actually sent Sun Yi flying. Big brother, if you continue like this, you will be single for the rest of your life. Little Brother Red cried out in surprise. To think that you are actually willing to lay your hands on such a beauty. Big Brother Green didn't expect himself to be so powerful. He laughed and said, "It's all right. Big Brother still has you." Big Brother, I don't like this kind of stuff. Guang Tianlu drew out 3 cards and snorted coldly. Don't be arrogant. Little Brother Red cried out in surprise. Card. His figure instantly disappeared, and when he returned, he held 3 cards in his hand. Big Brother, don't you like playing cards? What exactly are these 3 cards? Dizzy or Mana Sucked? Big Brother Green raised his hand and slapped. What are you doing? We are killing people, and the enemy is currently attacking us. You have already snatched the enemy's weapon. What are they still fighting for? Quickly return the cards to him. You have no morals. Little Brother Red scratched on his head and said with grievance, I'm just curious about what functions these cards have. Guang Tianlu and Haidaisi were stupefied. Especially Guang Tianlu, my summoning cards are actually held on by him. Bullsh asterisk T. Even Xiao, he doesn't dare to receive my summoning cards. And yet this red hair actually received my summoning cards. Impossible. This is definitely impossible. They must have cheated. Uft, uft, uft. Guang Tianlu's eyeballs were about to pop out as he slowly lowered his head, only to see that his 3 summoning cards had pierced into his body. Ah, Big Brother, I didn't do it on purpose. I thought that he would dodge. Little Brother Red panicked and was at a loss of what to do. Big Brother Green hurriedly consoled his little brother. This isn't your fault. He didn't dodge on his own. Really? Really? Then I can be at ease. Little Brother Red patted onto his chest. A mouthful of blood sprayed out from Guang Tianlu's mouth. To actually say that I didn't dodge on my own, I need to have some time to react too. Upon seeing that, Haidaisi knew that things have gone south. The 2 of us are going to be crippled in an instant. We have to quickly run away. Big Brother, that one-armed hero, ran away. Little Brother Red shouted out loudly. Big Brother Green could be seen taking out a spatula from his windbreaker. Chapter 230. Didn't you bring the frying pan with you? Big Brother Green looked at the butt of his little brother. It was obvious that there was a frying pan there. Looking at High Dicey, who was running away, Big Brother Green aimed at his target and threw the spatula in his hand. A muffled sound came from afar, and a black shadow fell from the sky. Big Brother Green heaved a sigh of relief. It's done. But they didn't die. Little Brother Red said worriedly. Big Brother Green thought for a moment, then said, "Put the three of them down first. We'll think of a way." Little Brother Red nodded his head, then gathered the three injured people together and went to the depths of the forest. The Green and Red brothers frowned as they looked at the three people lying on the ground, not knowing what to do. At this moment, the three of them were very weak, but they were not dead. The spiritual energy in their bodies was slowly healing their wounds. "Big Brother, what should we do?" Little Brother Red asked anxiously. Big Brother Green patted his little brother's shoulder and said, "At this time, you need courage. Big Brother's courage is already enough. You go and finish them off, then we can go back to eat." When Sun E and the other two heard the conversation between the two, their expressions instantly sank. It would be hard for them to escape death today. "If you want to kill us, then kill us. Give us a quick death. However, even if I become a ghost, I won't let you off." Although Guang Tianlu was weak, he was still full of energy, which meant that he wouldn't die anytime soon. Sun E, on the other hand, was different. She was a woman and had an advantage. "Little brothers, if you can let me go, I can satisfy all your requests." After saying that, Sun E revealed a bashful look. This made the Green and Red brothers very excited, and they subconsciously showed respect to her. High Dicey and Guang Tianlu both cursed at how shameless he was. This was probably how he became the sect master. "Big Brother, I can't bear to lay my hands on such a beautiful woman. I'll leave her to you, Big Brother." With that said, he turned around and closed his eyes, covering his ears. Big Brother Green was quite ferocious when killing chickens. He could chop off a chicken's head with one slash. But killing people, soon, he seemed to have seen the hope of survival and hurriedly said, "Little Big Brother, don't worry. I'll live well." High Dicey and Guang Tianlu's faces were filled with disdain. "I know you are living well. Don't speak," Big Brother Green shouted. This woman was so coquettish. She was actually showing off that she was living well. Who the F***CK didn't have a good life? I've been basking in the sun for 5 billion years. Have I ever shown off? One had to keep a low profile. Sun E felt a little dizzy. It seemed that this was still a boy, not a man. High Dicey and Guang Tianlu actually laughed out loud. "Who asked you to act coquettishly? Other people wouldn't fall for your act at all." The Green and Red brothers squatted on the side and quietly discussed how to deal with it. "Little brother, Big Brother usually treats you well, right?" "That's right. He often borrows money and doesn't return it. That's because Big Brother doesn't want to see you get sick. That's why he did this. You have to understand Big Brother's good intentions." "Big Brother, I know what you want to say. I'm scared." Big Brother Green sighed. "I'm scared too, especially when I slash down with my blade. Their eyeballs will bulge out. It's very terrifying." "That's right. We should have let them die easily." Little Brother Red said regretfully as he placed his palms together. "You're right. After all, we're all good people." Little Brother Red nodded his head, agreeing with what his big brother said. "Then, how can we let them die easily and painlessly? I heard that euthanasia is the best. It's a pity we don't have it. The second best will be to let blood out. I heard that it's not very painful. If you let it out, people will faint and then die. This is a good idea. Let's let blood out." Big Brother Green took out a kitchen knife and walked over. "You two can be at ease. I will let you two die peacefully. Big Brother, I beg of you, I have a lot of money and a lot of treasures." "Son, you didn't want to die. I just became the sect master. I don't want to die just like this." Big Brother Green sighed. "If you want to blame something, blame yourself for provoking someone you shouldn't have provoked." The three of them were startled. Could it be Xiaoi? Impossible. If Xiao Yi had such a strong subordinate, he would have used him long ago. Then who could it be? High Dicey asked hurriedly. "Big Brother, you guys couldn't have gotten the wrong person, right?" Little brother, we didn't get the wrong person, right? Big Brother Green asked. I don't know either. Little Brother Red shook his head. The three of them were about to collapse. You guys didn't even get a clear picture of the person before killing him. Is this really good? At the very least, confirm the target. Big Brother Green could be seen holding on to High Dicey's other hand and said faintly, if there are three of you, then I wouldn't be wrong. And we are killing based on the number of people, not based on their appearance. Little Brother Red added. The three of them were truly in despair. Who is killing based on the number of people? Sunny asked. What if there were only two of us that appeared just now? Oh, then it wouldn't be you guys. Little Brother Red revealed out an expression of, you are an idiot, to actually ask such a childish question. The three of them let out a breath at the same time. Why didn't we split up and go back just now? Bear with it, Big Brother Green warned concernedly. Soon after, the main artery on Big Brother Green's wrist was cut, and blood sprayed out like a fountain. Next was Guang Tian Road, and last was Sun Yi. Sec Master, is a bit painful. Just bear with it, and it will be over soon. Big Brother Green touched on his Sun Yi's smooth little hand. It really hurts, so white, so tender. Just kill me. I don't dare to. Blood spilled out from the corner of Sun Yi's mouth. She was angered to the point that if she was able to move, she would have already committed suicide to avoid being toyed with by them. Green and Red brothers immediately ran away and waited, looking as if they had just set off firecrackers. Big Brother, how long are we waiting for? Little Brother Red was very nervous. At around 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, go and see if they are dead or not. Little Brother Green shouted out. Little Brother Red took a deep breath, then stood up and went to take a look. Soon after, he shouted out, Big Brother, they are not dead yet. What? Big Brother Green hurriedly ran over. As expected, they are not dead yet. Just kill me. Just kill me. The three were begging for death right now. This kind of bloodletting was nothing more than the cruelest torture. The spiritual energy in one's body was able to coagulate blood, and thus, while the blood was being coagulated, they would not die immediately. What people were afraid of was not death, but rather, they were afraid of waiting for death. Even though they knew that they were going to die soon, that kind of waiting was the cruelest and most painful torture. Big Brother, what should we do? Little Brother Red was very flustered. How would I know? Big Brother Green was very vexed too. Suddenly, a black whirlpool appeared, and Wei Chong appeared while holding onto a thermos cup. Uncle Wei. Uncle Wei. The three looked at Wei Chong. I don't know him. Meanwhile, when Wei Chong saw the three's state, he went into a daze for a moment, then said happily, You guys did well. This kind of bloodletting method is indeed cruel and inhumane. I will report this matter to the boss. The boss will reward you guys. Green and Red brothers had a blank look on their faces. Is bloodletting inhumane? It's not like we were killing people. However, when Sun Yi and the other two heard what Wei Chong said, they were startled. Those two are subordinates, and the person who just came out is also a subordinate. If that is the case, then who is our boss? Chapter 231. Quickly deal with it. Your sister-in-law has already bought the food and is waiting for you guys to eat. After finished speaking, Wei Chong disappeared. The Green and Red brothers let out a breath and looked at the three people. Big Brother, how about we cut another artery? That way it might be faster. Good idea. Right now, the three people couldn't even scold out even if they wanted to. They are simply inhumane to actually abuse you guys like this. I curse you guys to die a horrible death. 10 minutes later, the Green and Red brothers returned to the rented house. Looking at the two people who appeared, Tang Wei said with a slight smile, You guys are not used to it, right? I was the same at the start as well. I just got used to killing and killing. Now that I think about it, I still feel a bit excited. The Green and Red brothers took a look at each other, and an evil smile appeared on the corner of their mouth. Thinking back to the scene just now, it was indeed very violent and exciting. All right, don't just stand there, come over and eat. Thank you, sister-in-law. Thank you, sister-in-law. Wei Chong walked out from the bedroom and asked curiously, Where did you guys throw the corpses to? Isn't it very conspicuous? Little brother, you tell them. Big brother Green poked his little brother. Little brother Red was a bit embarrassed as he said hesitantly, "We left the corpses at the funeral parlor." Wei Chang, Tang Wei, immediately, Wei Chang's angry scolding could be heard. The Green and Red brothers didn't even eat and immediately went to deal with the corpses. After the two left, Tang Wei smiled and said, "They're still newbies, Uncle Wei, don't be angry. I'm afraid that his honor will blame us." Wei Chang laughed bitterly. Tang Wei laughed lightly, then said faintly, "Uncle Wei, our money is almost gone. We still have to feed them." "Xiao Tang, you can be at ease. Uncle Wei won't let you suffer." "Uncle Wei, I am not afraid of suffering. I am just afraid that you won't be able to keep up with your nutrition, and your illness won't be cured." Wei Chang was puzzled, then asked, "Xiao Tang, just what illness do I have?" "Uncle Wei, it's fine as long as you know. There is no need to ask." "How would I know?" All right, you aren't sick, right? Quickly come over and eat." Wei Chang was very helpless. As for the problem of money, I can only look for Death Mage. I hope that my little brother can have some money to deal with this emergency. Death Mage expressed that he would immediately deliver the money to Yihua. I forgot to bribe the betrothal gifts that I had snatched last time. Right now, Yihua was also distressed about money. Qinya is too ruthless. She isn't even giving me a single cent. Of course, I won't ask her for money. I can only look for my subordinates to get me some money to deal with this emergency. However, I have to express it in a more subtle way. I can't let them see that my money is being controlled. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have given that 50 billion to Qinya. Irritated, depressed. Your Honor. At this time, Wei Chang suddenly sent a voice transmission. Yihua stood on the balcony of his office and smoked while looking at the hot pot restaurant that was not far away from him. What happened? Death Mage has something to offer to his honor. Yihua's eyes shone. Bring him to Leisure Bar's storage room. Yes. Yihua went downstairs and arrived at the storage room on the first floor. Wei Chang could be seen bringing along Death Mage and Sun Fong. The three kneeled down respectfully and shouted out at the same time, "Subordinate pays respect to your honor." Yihua swept his gaze across everyone and shouted out with a deep voice, "All of you, get up." "Thank you, your honor." Looking at the mahogany chest at the side, Yihua asked faintly, "What's inside?" Death Mage hurriedly said, "Your honor, these are all small things that subordinate made. I hope that your honor will accept them." Yihua slowly walked over and opened up the mahogany chest. A golden light immediately lit up the entire room. When Yihua opened up the chest, he saw that the chest was filled with jewelry and a white fan. "Your honor, this is an ancient godly item, God Leaf Fan." Sun Fong added. Yihua casually threw the fan into the chest and said faintly, "I don't need these things." Death Mage and Sun Fong's heart sunk. "But, seeing that you two have put in so much effort, I will reluctantly accept them." Death Mage and Sun Fong became joyous and hurriedly kowtowed to Yihua. Yihua let out a breath. "Luckily, they didn't see that I am bankrupt. This is simply timely rain. This little skeleton is not bad. I didn't waste the marriage that I gave him." "What movements did Ing family make recently?" Yihua asked. Death Mage didn't reply. After all, his honor wanted Sun Fong to monitor Ing family's every movement. "Replying to your honor, Ing family sent someone over to Voidless Realm to negotiate." Sun Fong was a lot more obedient in front of Yihua. She didn't dare to be careless in the slightest. "What is Voidless Realm?" Sun Fong replied. "Voidless Realm is one of the big powers in North." "Oh, is that so? Let them negotiate then. It would be best if the negotiation fails." Yihua said faintly, "The more ruthless they fight, the happier I will be." "Wei Chang, how did the Green and Red brothers perform today?" Wei Chang replied respectfully. "The Green and Red brothers' performance was out of my expectations. Their killing methods were incomparably ruthless, and their methods were extremely frightening." "That's good. I like this kind of people." "After those 3 people died, is there any reaction from the South?" "The 3 people didn't speak. Seemingly, they didn't keep up with the intelligence." Yihua immediately wrinkled his brows. The 3 people immediately knelt on the ground Subordinates have failed in their duties. Intelligence must keep up with the tempo. I don't want to be the last one to know, Yihua said coldly. In the past, I didn't know the importance of intelligence, but now I know. Yes, the three people shouted out in unison. After scolding their subordinates, they still had to ask about their subordinates' private matters to show their concern. Sun Fang, Yihua called out. Subordinate is here. Yihua asked faintly. How are you getting along with my little skeleton? Sun Fang's beautiful face immediately became bright red. Subordinate, subordinate. Seems like this little skeleton didn't manage to do it. Wei Chong, kill it. Yihua shouted out coldly. Wei Chong nodded his head. Yes. Death Mage was stupefied. Not only was Death Mage stupefied, Sun Fang was also stupefied. Your Honor. Sun Fang immediately knelt onto the ground and shouted out hurriedly. Yihua said gravely, Sun Fang, since you had joined my team, you should be clear of my rules. My team doesn't need useless people, and towards useless people, I will only kill them. Death Mage and Sun Fang never expected that things would turn out like this. Originally, they were here to send gifts, but they didn't expect that they would send a disaster instead. Little Skeleton didn't manage to meet my requirements, and thus, he naturally won't be able to escape death. Wei Chong, he is your subordinate. You go ahead and kill him. Yihua said faintly, not showing any signs of letting go. Towards Yihua's orders, Wei Chong would only obey and not go against it. Looking at Death Mage, Wei Chong said faintly, Do you two have anything else to say? Your Honor, he didn't do anything wrong. Sun Fang hurriedly begged, completely unaware of how much she wanted Death Mage to die back then. Towards Sun Fang's begging, Yihua didn't pay attention to it. Death Mage put down his weapon and untied his black cloak, revealing his skeletal body. Lightly placing his hand onto Sun Fang's shoulder, Yihua told her not to anger his honor. If not, two of them would die. Chapter 232. Quickly kneel down and beg his honor. What are you standing there foolishly for? Looking at Death Mage, Sun Fang shouted out while choking with sobs. Death Mage took out his phone and typed a few words. Sun Fang, your wish is about to come true. Looking at these words, Sun Fang's tears finally fell. That's right, my wish is going to be realized, but why don't I want to realize it anymore? Without this adorable skeleton, who am I going to bully in the future? Who am I going to play games with in the future? For the sake of topping up money, I won't be able to see the scene of the skeleton emitting smoke anymore. Sun Fang let out a sigh, then kneeled in front of Yihua and said, Your Honor, subordinate's wish is to kill Death Mage, then kill myself afterward. Thank you, Your Honor, for helping Sun Fang take revenge, but please, Your Honor, after you take care of Death Mage, you can also take care of Sun Fang. Death Mage didn't even have time to type, and he let out a GGG sound, royal translation. You're such an idiot. You actually want to die. Yihua looked at Sun Fang, who was kneeling on the ground, and he seemed to be deep in thought. In actuality, I can spare its life, but are you willing to die in its place? Yihua asked. Sun Fang turned her head around and took a look at Death Mage, then said gravely, Sun Fang didn't want to live any longer. To be able to die in the hands of someone as powerful as your honor, Sun Fang feels that it is worth it. Fuck, his underling's underling used a skeleton body to pick up such a beautiful woman, and this woman actually dared to die for it. I, the Supreme Overlord, am so handsome, and yet those two women still want to die with me. If I were to reveal my true body, wouldn't I have no choice but to go and commit suicide? We are both skeletons, but why are you so outstanding? That's good. This sovereign will fulfill your wish. Yihua slowly raised his hand, and a lump of golden flames emerged from his hand. Death Mage could be seen not caring about anything else as he immediately rushed forward and used his bones to protect Sun Fang. Your Honor, forgive subordinate for being rude. If your honor wants to kill someone, then go ahead and kill subordinate. Looking at Death Mage and Sun Fang, Yihua suddenly thought of an idea. I have never met with any difficulties before. If there comes a day when I am unable to hold on and am about to die, would they be like this? Yihua expressed his curiosity. After keeping the flames, Yihua said faintly, "All right, I was just joking. Look at how nervous the two of you are." A joke? You don't look like you're joking. Death Mage and Sun Fong were both stupefied, and Sun Fong's face turned red as she hurriedly pushed Death Mage away. "Your Honor." Sun Fong's face was about to drip blood. His honor is so powerful, but I didn't expect that he would actually be so mischievous to actually allow me and a skeleton to poke a hole in a piece of paper. Yihua said with a slight smile, "Sun Fong, if you like him, then you like him. There's nothing wrong with that. Although he is of a different race, it doesn't matter." "Your Honor." Sun Fong felt that she was going to dig a hole in the ground. Death Mage was overjoyed. This woman even said that she doesn't like me, and she is even willing to die for me. I'm so touched, as expected of the ugly woman that I like. Yihua put away his smile and said calmly, "Sun Fong, if you want to give birth to a child, I will bestow a body to it. I, the Supreme Overlord, can help you with this matter." "Your Honor, I don't want to have a child with it," Sun Fong said shyly. Today, His Honor actually managed to see through my inner thoughts. When I return, I will definitely be laughed at by the skeletons. "All right, I agree to your request. Actually, not having children is also good." Death Mage and Sun Fong were both stupefied. His Honor isn't taking the normal path. What he expressed just now was shyness. Who would talk about giving birth to a child at this time? Yihua waved his hand. "The two of you can leave for now. From today onwards, you have to pay attention to the intelligence gathering." "Yes, yes." Death Mage brought Sun Fong and left. Seems like after returning to Ying family, the two of them are going to bicker with each other again. Wei Chong revealed out a respectful smile. "Your Honor truly sympathizes with subordinate, personally helping subordinate pull the strings of marriage, and even helping to break the gap between them. Subordinate is truly convinced by your Honor. Sun Fong is a good woman, and, similarly, she is also a good subordinate. Put her in an important position in the future. Subordinate understands. All right, you can go back and accompany your Xiaotang. I still have things to do." "Yes." After Wei Chong left, Yihua opened up the mahogany box again and muttered, "Qinya, you didn't expect this, right? I have a lot of money. But how am I supposed to exchange the gold for money? Sell it for money? So troublesome. If I had known that this would happen, I would have asked them to exchange the gold for money. Forget it. Everyone would know that I don't have any money." Yihua opened the door and walked out. Upon seeing that Dongwang Baiji was currently lying on the bar counter and sleeping, Yihua sighed. Even Sun Fong is willing to die for Death Mage, and yet my own woman wishes for me to die. This is the difference between us, motherfucker. If I had known that this would happen, I wouldn't have done what I did just now. I might as well order all of them to break up with each other. Before I settle the matter, I am not allowed to reconcile with each other. When Yihua arrived at the bedroom, he saw that the two beauties on the bed were actually not sleeping and were chatting with each other. When Qingya saw Yihua, the smile on her face immediately changed. When Dongwang Li saw Yihua, she shouted out with a smile, "Daddy!" Yihua carried his daughter who was lying on the bed and said with a smile, "What are Ali and Aunt Qing talking about?" "Daddy, Ali and Aunt Qing are making a pinky promise. You can't tell others about it. If not, Ali will become a person who goes back on her words. Mommy often tells Ali that one must be honest and not lie to others." Hearing what Ali said, Dongwang Baiji was definitely talking about me. Qinya, who was lying on the bed, snorted. "Ali's a big liar." Pinching onto his daughter's little nose, Yihua said faintly, "Daddy, can you teach Ali a powerful technique?" "Papa, really? Of course it's true. Why would Daddy lie to little Ali? That's great. Ali wants to learn it." After the father and daughter left, Qinya got off the bed and decided to go and have a chat with Dongwang Baiji. Yihua brought his daughter to his office and sat on the boss's chair. Dongwang Li stood on her father's lap with a face full of expectation. Yihua stretched out his index finger. Puff! A purple flame appeared on the tip of his finger, and it looked very beautiful. Dong Wang Li was attracted by the flame in Yi Hua's eyes. "Daddy, this purple flame is so beautiful, so beautiful." "Ali, this is Sky Ghost Fire, one of the most powerful flames in history. It is capable of burning souls. Do you want to learn it?" Yi Hua said with a smile. Ali wants to learn it, but Ali is afraid that I won't be able to learn it and will disappoint Daddy. Dong Wang Li's little mouth crooked. "Silly child, there's no need to be afraid of failure. Giving up on failure is what is scary." Yi Hua taught Ali attentively. I haven't been by Ali's side for more than 2 years, and I didn't expect that Ali's mentality would be so bad. "How is that Dong Wang Baiji a mother?" Dong Wang Li pondered, then said seriously, "Daddy, Ali understands. Ali will bravely try it." "Daddy's good daughter, Ali, try it." As Yi Hua's bloodline, Dong Wang Li inherited all of Yi Hua's innate skills. Just that, she had yet to awaken them. Just like a character in a game, the character would have all of the skills, but the character would only be level 1 and would have to slowly unlock the skills. Dong Wang Li imitated her father, stretched out her little index finger, and looked at it earnestly. After a long while, not even a single spark appeared on the index finger. Ali became anxious, but she didn't want to disappoint her father. Thus, stubbornness could be seen on her little face. Chapter 233. He seemed to see his own shadow in Ali. "Ali, don't be anxious. You have to be calm. More haste, less speed." Yi Hua guided attentively. After hearing those words, Dong Wang Li gradually relaxed. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Purple sparks could be seen coming out from Dong Wang Li's finger. Dong Wang Li was exulted, and even Yi Hua was stupefied. Puff! A small ball of sky ghost fire appeared on Ali's fingertip. Papa, Ali succeeded. Right now, Yi Hua was in a stupefied state. "It took me an hour to condense out my bloodline, but Ali actually condensed out my bloodline in less than 20 minutes. As expected of my bloodline, this kind of innate talent is even a bit stronger than mine. If such thoughts were heard by others, they would definitely scold the father and daughter for being perverts. Sky's ghost fire would take at least a few hundred years to condense out, and it would also require all kinds of fire starters to fuse together. In the end, they were able to condense out the Sky's ghost fire in just a few minutes, especially Dong Wang Li, who was able to condense out the Sky's ghost fire in less than 20 minutes. Yi Hua was still lamenting that the 1 hour that he had spent to condense out the Sky's ghost fire was too long. Ali is really amazing. Yi Hua encouraged Ali and stroked the child's head. Ali narrowed her beautiful eyes as she enjoyed her father's touch. Yi Hua stretched out his hands, and various colored flames could be seen emerging from his fingertips. "Ali, this will be your first lesson." Dong Wang Li looked foolishly at the flame on her father's fingertip. So beautiful, so powerful. He must study hard and not let his father down. He must make his father proud. Right now, Dong Wang Li's big eyes were shining with a firm conviction. Yi Hua was very satisfied. I wonder if Qinya's child will look like Ali. I'm really looking forward to it. While the father and daughter were cultivating their relationship upstairs, Qinya came downstairs and looked at Dong Wang Baiji, who was currently drinking wine. Taking a deep breath, Qinya walked over and sat beside Dong Wang Baiji, then poured herself a glass of wine. "You are pregnant, yet you are still drinking?" Dong Wang Baiji reminded, then slowly took a sip of wine. Qinya slightly went into a daze, then placed down the wine glass that was at the side of her mouth. "Thank you for reminding me." The two women sat there without saying a word. The atmosphere was a little weird. "These 3 years must have been very painful for you, right?" Qinya said slowly. Dong Wang Baiji laughed lightly. "Pain? It's a common occurrence. I've gotten used to it in the past 3 years. If you had gone downstairs back then, perhaps you wouldn't be in so much pain." Qinya said faintly. "I feel that Dong Wang Baiji is also a victim. Based on what Ali said, Dong Wang Baiji's life isn't very comfortable." Dong Wang Baiji looked towards Qinya and said earnestly, "Qinya, if Yi Hua had come down back then, you wouldn't be able to do anything anymore. Would you be willing to do that? Qinya didn't speak because right now she couldn't bear to part with Yihua, but at the same time, she was also angry. These two kinds of emotions intertwined together, causing Qinya to be unspeakably bitter. In actuality, if Yihua was a bit more of a rascal and coaxed the two women a bit more, he might be able to hug the two beauties back home. Unfortunately, Yihua wasn't that kind of person. This Dongwang Baiji was even spanked. How could she not be angry? Qinya, in actuality, I am rather envious of you, Dongwang Baiji said calmly. Her tone was indeed filled with envy, and she wasn't lying. Qinya laughed bitterly. What is there to be envious of? I am just an ordinary woman, and it's just that I have a bit of money and good looks. That's why I was tricked by Yihua to come here. Qinya, I envy your luck. Dongwang Baiji let out a light sigh. Luck? When you came to look for him when you were pregnant, he immediately went down. I envy you. Dongwang Baiji had a drunken smile on her face. Most probably, only when she was in this state would she reveal her inner thoughts. Qinya understood. If it was me and Yihua didn't go down, I reckon that I would even have a heart to die. Meanwhile, Dongwang Baiji persisted for so long, and she even brought Ali along with her. In actuality, no one knew just how much pressure Dongwang Baiji was under. The pressure was brought by Voidless Realm, and the pressure was brought by the outside world. But now, everyone knew of Ali's existence, and it didn't matter anymore. Then, did Yihua explain why he didn't go down back then? Dongwang Baiji laughed in disdain. He did, just treat it as what he said was the truth. Could it be that he lied to you again? Qinya was a bit angry. Everything about Yihua is good, but he only knows how to lie. He said that it wasn't convenient for him to go down during those few days. Do you believe him? Dongwang Baiji herself laughed. Yihua doesn't even know how to lie. Can't he put some effort into making up a lie? Qinya went into a daze. Inconvenient? You aren't even a woman. What inconvenient about it? It was obvious that he was being perfunctory. Dongwang Baiji poured a cup to the brim and downed it in a single gulp. From this, it could be seen just how angry she was. After a while, Qinya said in a deep voice, Actually, the two of you are very compatible. Both of you are cultivators. Qinya, you don't have to say that. It's not a matter of whether we are worthy or not. But he wants to forcefully keep us here. Qinya clenched her small fist. That's right. If I was more powerful than him, I would definitely beat him up and let him be the boss. Haha, your thoughts are exactly the same as mine. I want to hang Yihua up and give him a good beating and let him know how formidable I am. Who asked him to lie to me? Although Yihua was clearly smiling, tears were flowing out from her beautiful eyes. How could Qinya not be in pain? When this atmosphere arrived, tears unconsciously flowed down from her eyes. Sitting at the bar counter, the two women burst into tears. However, this scene was witnessed by Yi Zizi, who came downstairs to grab some spicy sticks. While eating the spicy strip, Yi Zizi couldn't help but sigh in admiration. These two madams were really a good match. Even when they were crying, they almost cried together. After saying that, Yi Zizi skipped upstairs to play games. After crying enough, the two beauties' eyes were red and swollen, looking very sad. Dongwang Baiji choked with sobs. Qinya, do you want to leave this place? Yes. Qinya nodded her head. In actuality, she had long wanted to leave this place and calm down by herself. If there's a chance, I will bring you to Voidless Realm. The air there is good. It is suitable for nurturing the fetus. Qinya asked confusedly, Voidless Realm? That place is my territory. No one will disturb you. Even if Yihua comes, I will be able to make him back off. But we are unable to leave at all. Qinya sighed. Facing such a tyrant, how is it possible for us to run away? Dongwang Baiji naturally didn't know how to run away. Let's look at the situation first. He can't possibly lock us up forever, right? Baiji, you might not know this, but Yihua is really capable of doing such a thing. He isn't playing around with us. Qinya understood Yihua now. Although he dotes on you, once you provoke him, he won't be reasonable with you. Dongwang Baiji said coldly, How can I do that? I still have a lot of things that I have to deal with outside. Thinking about how I sneaked out this time, If I'm discovered to be missing, wouldn't Voidless Realm be in chaos? No, I have to rush back. Thinking up to here, Dongwang Baiji pounded on the air wall and shouted out, Yihua, get down here. Qingyu was very confused. Stretching out her hand, she touched the air wall, but there wasn't anything there. Dongwang Baiji laughed bitterly. Qingyu, this is the difference between you and me. Chapter 234. Yihua, who was currently watching Dongwang Li's practice, wrinkled his brows. What is this woman talking about again? Ali, practice properly. Yihua patted onto his daughter's head. Dongwang Li nodded her head earnestly. Ali understands. Walking down the stairs, Yihua was startled. They are actually together? What does that mean? Dongwang Baiji, you really don't have the slightest bit of etiquette for shouting like this. Yihua shouted out gravely. As my woman, look at how she is acting right now. She is acting just like an Annie. If my subordinates were to see this, I, the Supreme Overlord, would truly be throwing away my face. Qingyu wrinkled her brows and stood at the side without saying a word. She was even feeling a bit of sympathy for Dongwang Baiji. However, he had been lectured like this in the past, but the situation now was different. Someone else was raising a child with you, but you didn't say anything nice. Instead, you scolded me the moment you came. Yihua, let me out. Dongwang Baiji hit the air wall and shouted out. Yihua stood outside of the air wall and looked at Dongwang Baiji, then said faintly, if you don't have the slightest change, then just obediently stay here. Yihua, that's enough. Is there a need to imprison others? At this moment, Qingyu also spoke out to persuade Yihua. This caused Yihua to be very unhappy. Just whose side are you standing on? Looking at Qingyu, Yihua said coldly, Qingyu, go upstairs and rest. No, I want to go out too. Qingyu shouted out with a stern face. This caused Yihua to be even angrier. Do these two women really want to leave this place that much? I won't let it go. Qingyu, don't make me angry again. Qingyu didn't seem to be afraid at all, and continued to shout out, Yihua, let me tell you, I'm not your pet canary. Enough, Yihua shouted out angrily. This roar caused the two women to be stupefied. Right now, Yihua's expression was sinister, and a red light was flickering within his pair of black pupils. Yihua had been fighting for his entire life, and there was no one who was able to make him so angry. Even those overlords were unable to do so. However, Yihua didn't expect that he would be provoked by two women, and these two women were even his own women. Qingyu, I'm talking to this woman. You can go upstairs and wait. After calming down the anger in his heart, Yihua said coldly. Qingyu looked at Yihua in disbelief. He actually shouted at me, this bastard that deserves 1,000 cuts. Qingyu and Dongwang Baiji could be seen picking up chairs and throwing them towards Yihua. Their expressions were that of wanting to kill Yihua. Yihua was angered to the point that his veins were about to pop out, and his handsome face had turned red from anger. Qingyu, you asked for it. The two of you better stay here and don't go anywhere. With that, he turned around and went upstairs. Not only was the conflict within the family not resolved, it was becoming more and more intense, and now, even Qingyu was locked up. Right now, Qingyu was fiercely smashing the air wall with a chair and shouted out loudly, Yihua, I hate you. I hate you. Meanwhile, Dongwang Baiji, who was at the side, was the same as well. Yihua, you bastard. I, Dongwang Baiji, will never be your woman in my entire life. I, Qingyu, am the same. I want a divorce. Facing the two women's various threats, Yihua slowly turned his head around and said coldly, Then, the two of you shall stay here forever. Qingyu and Dongwang Baiji powerlessly fell onto the ground, then hugged onto each other and cried bitterly. Soon after, the two of them hugged onto each other and cried bitterly. Yihua stood at the entrance of the staircase, then lit up a cigarette and started smoking. Now, even Qingyu has become like that. There's no way I can continue living like this. Suddenly, Yihua thought of something and walked downstairs again, then shouted out faintly, Dongwang Baiji. From today onwards, Ali's surname will be Yi. Dongwang Baiji, who was currently crying, went into a daze, then began smashing the air wall crazily. Yihua, you don't have the right to do this. Ali is mine. You can't snatch her away. I'm just informing you. I'm not asking for your permission. After finished speaking, Yihua went upstairs. No, Yihua, you can't do this. Ali was raised by me, Ali. Ah. Dongwang Baiji's heart-wrenching screams were extremely heart-wrenching. Dongwang Baiji sat paralyzed on the ground and slapped the air wall powerlessly. This caused Qinya, who was at the side, to be very worried. She didn't care about herself and hurriedly comforted Dongwang Baiji. Dongwang Baiji is truly too pitiful. Dongwang Baiji has been raising a child for so long, and right now, the moment Yihua takes over, he wants the child to change her name. Which mother would be able to endure such a thing? Yihua stood outside and smoked a cigarette, then walked into the office. Right now, Dongwang Li was seriously practicing, and her little face was filled with sweat. Right now, only my daughter can make me feel at ease. Not a single other person can make me feel at ease. Daddy, when Dongwang Li saw that her father had arrived, she immediately stretched out her hands, wanting to hug Yihua. Yihua's mood became a lot better. He stretched out his hands and hugged his daughter. How is Ali's practice? Daddy, Ali is only able to condense fire. I am unable to control it, Dongwang Li said disappointedly. She was a bit afraid that her father would get angry, because back in Voidless Realm, if Ali couldn't reach her mother's requirements, her mother would punish her. Yihua naturally wouldn't. Pinching onto Ali's little face, he said, "It's all right, take your time." Seeing that her father didn't blame her and even comforted her, Dongwang Li became extremely happy and said, Ali likes Daddy the most. Children are like this. They will like whoever treats them well. While hugging onto his daughter, Dongwang Li sat on the sofa and took out a tissue to wipe Ali's sweat. Suddenly, Dongwang Li's brows wrinkled and she actually started crying. Ali, what's wrong? Yihua asked worriedly. Woo, Daddy treats Ali too well. Mommy has never even wiped Ali's tears before. From the looks of it, Dongwang Baiji was taught by a tiger mother. Don't cry, don't cry. In the future, with Daddy here, no one will dare to bully you. Yihua said gravely. I wonder how much suffering Ali has suffered together with Dongwang Baiji. Dongwang Li hugged on her father tightly and cried. This feeling of being doted on by her father was unprecedented. Ali, Daddy has something to tell you, Yihua said while caressing onto his daughter's hair. And Dongwang Li replied. Yihua said faintly, Ali, in the future, you will follow Daddy's surname Yi. Ah, then Ali won't be called Dongwang Li anymore. Will she be called Yi Li? And that's right. All right, Ali will listen to Daddy's words. Dongwang Li agreed happily. However, she suddenly thought of something and frowned. Yihua was very happy. My daughter is so obedient and sensible. Daddy, if Ali's surname becomes Yi, Mommy will be very sad. Dongwang Li opened her eyes wide and looked at her father. Ali doesn't want to follow Daddy's surname. In actuality, Yihua didn't really care much about surnames. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. In the past, Yihua didn't know about it, but now that he knew about it, he definitely had to change it. Dongwang Li shook her head. Of course, Ali wants to follow Daddy's surname. But if that's the case, Mommy will be alone. Yihua remained silent. Although Mommy is very strict with Ali, Ali can tell that Mommy actually loves Ali a lot, just that Mommy didn't say it out. Furthermore, Mommy only has Ali. I'm afraid that Mommy will be very sad. Chapter 235. Seeing that her father didn't say anything, Dongwang Li thought that her father was angry. Thus she hurriedly said, Daddy, don't be angry. Ali will follow Daddy's surname. However, in the future, when Daddy and Mommy have a child, one of them must follow Mommy's surname. If not, Mommy will be too lonely. Dongwang Li said pitifully. Upon hearing that, Yihua laughed. Ali truly loves Mommy. Yes, Ali also loves Papa. Yihua said faintly. Then, Ali shall follow Mommy's surname. But Ali also wants to have Papa's surname. The little fellow felt extremely wronged. She pouted and looked very unhappy. Can Amir's surname stop the love between us father and daughter? Right now, Dong Wangli liked Yihua even more. Dong Wangli kissed her father's cheek ferociously, while Yihua lifted Dong Wangli up. Oh, Ali can't fly. Seeing that the little fellow was happy, Yihua was very happy too. At such a young age, he already knows how to dote on his parents. Papa, don't worry. I won't embarrass you in the future. This is more like my daughter. Upstairs, the father and daughter were getting along harmoniously, while downstairs, wailing endlessly. Even Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi, who were playing games, couldn't sit still anymore, and both of them came downstairs to take a look. In the end, Qing Yutong was instantly dumbfounded. Qing Yutong really didn't dare to believe that her brother-in-law would actually shut two people up in one go. I did ask you to be jealous, big sister. You shouldn't be jealous like this. Yi Zizi expressed that his honor was already very benevolent. If it was in the past, Yi Zizi would not only be locked up here, he would also be locked up in a place that was even more terrifying. Yutong, go up and talk to Yihua. I want to divorce him. Qin Ye's eyes were red and swollen as she lightly comforted Donghuang Baiji, who was in pain. Yi Zizi blinked her beautiful eyes and said, Big sister-in-law, big cousin has a bad temper. Don't be angry. That's right. Brother-in-law definitely didn't do it on purpose. Right now, Qing Yutong didn't dare to go and anger Yihua. If not, her, but would definitely be beaten swollen. Yi Zizi was thinking the same way as well. Right now, whoever stands on the side of Qinya and Donghuang Baiji would be asking for a beating. Qinya pointed at the two of them and said in a low voice, You two traitors. During the crucial moment, he stood on Yihua's side. Sister, don't be angry. It's not like you don't know brother-in-law. Won't it be over if you act coquettishly? Qinya shouted out indignantly and shyly. I even acted coquettishly towards him. Let him go and die. Return my daughter to me. I want Ali. Right now, Donghuang Baiji was choking with tears. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi felt uncomfortable looking at this woman. This woman is truly very pitiful. Could it be that his honor doesn't know how to coax her? Mama, Donghuang Li could be heard shouting out, then pounced over like a gust of wind. After not seeing her daughter for a few hours, Donghuang Baiji immediately hugged onto Donghuang Li and said, Ali, Mama, why are you crying? Don't cry, Ali, wipe Mom's tears. The more sensible Donghuang Li was, the more sad Donghuang Baiji cried. If I didn't lose my temper that day, this little fellow wouldn't have left the house and wouldn't have met with this heartless father of mine. At this moment, Yihua walked over unhurriedly and said faintly, Yutong, go and bring the table over. It's time to eat. Oh, Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi immediately went to prepare the tableware. Qing gnashed her teeth in anger. Traitor, the feeling of hugging a mother and hugging a father are different. A mother's embrace is warm, while a father's embrace is warm and safe. Mama, Daddy agreed to let Ali have the surname Donghuang. Donghuang Li, who was nestled in her mother's embrace, said in a low voice. Donghuang Baiji went into a daze, then raised her head and looked towards Yihua, who was smoking at the side. Will this man be so kind-hearted? I won't believe it, even if I'm beaten to death. Donghuang Li could be heard adding a sentence. Daddy said that in the future, the child that he and Mommy give birth to must have the surname Yi. Cough, cough, cough. Yihua choked upon hearing his daughter's words. You still want my bloodline? That will have to depend on your performance. Do you think that it is that easy to obtain my bloodline? Wishful thinking. Donghuang Baiji shouted out at Yihua for being shameless. To actually say such things to a child and still want to give birth to a child with me. Wishful thinking. In any case, I don't plan to pay attention to Yihua for the rest of my life. I am very angry, the kind that I can't coax. After setting up the dining table, Yihua brought over the meat of star, cleansing sparrow, and golden delicate crane. Come and eat. Yihua shouted towards the two women. Mama, Aunt Xing, it's time to eat. Donghuang Li could be seen dragging the two women to the dining table. How could children be dragged by adults? It was just that Qinya and Dongwang Baiji didn't resist. Qing Yutong couldn't take it anymore, and Yi Zizi was also drooling. This meat is pretty good. His honor sure knows how to live his life. Ali, when you are growing, eat more. Yi Hua said tenderly. Dong Wangli smiled sweetly. Ali will start eating then. Yi Hua nodded his head, giving his approval. Wow, Daddy, what meat is this? It is so delicious. Dong Wangli cried out in surprise. I have never eaten such delicious meat before. Qing Yutong laughed. Ali, eat this meat. You could become prettier too, really? In that case, Ali has to eat more. You will become prettier than Mommy. Dong Wangli laughed happily. There was no need to talk about Yi Hua and Dong Huang Baiji's appearance. So how could the child that the two gave birth to be bad? The child would obviously not be bad, and the meat could only be said to be the icing on the cake. Qinya and Dongwang Baiji didn't move. It seemed like they were going on a hunger strike to protest against Yi Hua's actions. Qing Yutong and Yi Zizi noticed that the atmosphere wasn't quite right. Thus they carried their plates and went upstairs to eat. Mom, Aunt Qing, why aren't the two of you eating? This meat is really delicious. Dong Wangli had already eaten 2 big pieces of meat, yet she still wasn't satisfied. Aunt Qing is on a diet. Ali, you eat. Qing gave her share to Ali. Mommy is on a diet too. Ali, eat. Dongwang Baiji didn't eat either. Looking at the two women's actions, I, the supreme overlord, like these 2 women. However, let's see how long you two can persevere for. Dong Wangli licked her lips. Ali won't be polite then. Hearing what Dong Wangli said, a trace of an arc appeared on the corner of the 2 women's lips, but very quickly, the arc disappeared. Daddy, Ali wants to sleep with Mommy tonight. Do you want to come? Dong Wang Baiji, Yi Hua said faintly. Your Mommy is currently under Daddy's inspection. If you perform well, you will be able to sleep with Daddy. Oh, is that so? Then, Mommy, you have to perform well and strive to sleep with Daddy as soon as possible. Dong Wang Baiji, Yi Hua took a sip of wine, then said faintly, Baiji, you bring Ali to sleep in the office today. I will go get a bed later on. Qinya, you sleep with me. Yi Hua, who was sitting in a big boss position, gave out his orders. Who wants to sleep with you? I would rather sleep on the floor than sleep with you. Qinya said with a cold expression. It's not up to you to say no. Chapter 236. After dinner, Yi Hua released the confinement of the 2 women and got a bed and placed it in the office. The bed will be Dongwang Baiji's bedroom for the time being. Right now, Dongwang Baiji was accompanying her daughter. It could be said that this was the first time that Dongwang Baiji was wholeheartedly accompanying her daughter. On the other hand, Qinya was brought into the bedroom by Yi Hua. To be more precise, Qinya was carried into the bedroom by Yi Hua, and Qinya was even crying and throwing a tantrum in the bedroom, causing Yi Hua to feel extremely miserable. Yi Hua could only cast a spell on Qinya, and only then did Qinya fall asleep peacefully. If it was possible, Yi Hua wanted to directly cast a spell to turn Qinya into the kind of woman that he wanted. However, if he were to use it, Qinya would no longer be Qinya. She would just be an empty shell without a soul, and this was not what Yi Hua wanted. Lying on the comfortable bed, Yi Hua hugged onto Qinya as usual and lightly wiped away the tear stains on the corner of Qinya's eyes. Why don't you listen to me? If you're a little more obedient, I won't bully you. You still dare to say such foolish words like wanting a divorce? If it was in the past, I would have smacked your buttocks until they were swollen, and you even froze my card. You're truly a little mischievous. While speaking, Yi Hua himself started laughing. Qinya is just so charming. Even if she gets angry, Yi Hua would still like her. As for his feelings towards Dongwang Baiji, Yi Hua didn't have a deep impression of her. He just felt sorry for what happened in the past, and at the same time, he was also thankful that Dongwang Baiji gave birth to Ali. Just based on this point alone, Yi Hua would definitely protect Dongwang Baiji. After all, Dongwang Baiji was already his woman. How could he possibly leave her outside? That was impossible. Within the office, Dongwang Baiji was currently hugging onto her daughter as she slept. Ever since Ali was born, She had never hugged on her daughter to sleep like this. As a mother, Dongwang Baiji truly felt ashamed and a failure. However, after this incident, Dongwang Baiji decided that she would often accompany her daughter and let her feel the warmth of a mother. Looking at Ali, who was nestled in her bosom, Dongwang Baiji revealed out a slight smile. The smile of an empress is truly incomparably beautiful. Gulp, the empress was still a human, after all. Without spiritual power, she, too, would be hungry. Since arriving here yesterday, other than having a pancake in the morning, the rest of his food had been alcohol. He didn't eat anything at noon or at night. Now that he was in a better mood, he was hungry. Dongwang Baiji covered her daughter's body with the blanket, then got down from the bed to see if there was anything to eat. Voidless Realm's Empress was just like a little thief as she searched for food everywhere. However, there was nothing to eat in the entire office. Stealthily opening the door to take a look, only to discover that Yi Hua wasn't there. Thus, I might as well go downstairs to look for Yi Hua. On the bar counter, other than wine, there was only more wine. Right now, Dongwang Baiji did not want to drink wine. If not, Ali would say that there was a smell of wine on her body. There should be something to eat here, right? Dongwang Baiji walked towards the leisure bar storage area. After searching for a long time, he still couldn't find anything to eat, only drinks. What Yi Hua didn't know was that Yi Hua had already hidden away the spicy gluten to prevent Qing Yutong from secretly eating spicy gluten every day. There should be some food in this storage room, right? I am about to starve to death. It had been a long time since Dongwang Baiji experienced the feeling of hunger. After all, with the support of spiritual energy, even if she didn't eat for an entire month, it would still be fine. He opened the door of the storage room. It was pitch black inside. He touched the edge of the door. Pa! When the light was turned on, Dongwang Baiji was immediately overjoyed. Master Kang's instant noodles, and there were even boxes of them. Open the package and take out a bucket. Finally, I don't have to suffer from hunger anymore. This damnable Yi Hua, to actually make me, the Empress, come out in the middle of the night to look for food. Holding onto the instant noodles, Dongwang Baiji turned around and walked out of the restaurant. Suddenly, Dongwang Baiji stopped her footsteps and slowly turned her head around to look at a corner. Why does this mahogany box look so familiar? Walking forward, Dongwang Baiji opened one of the boxes, and inside the box was all gold. Looking at the mark on the gold, Dongwang Baiji's expression changed. Soon after, Dongwang Baiji opened the other boxes, and when she saw the god leaf fan, she was certain. So it was Yi Hua who intercepted and killed my people. If not, why would these betrothal gifts be here? This bastard actually killed my people. Yi Hua, get down here. Dongwang Baiji roared loudly and clenched her fists tightly, looking like she was going to fight Yi Hua to the death. Yi Hua, who was on the bed, wrinkled his brows. What is this woman doing again? Immediately disappearing from the bed, Yi Hua arrived at the storage room. Not sleeping in the middle of the night. What are you doing here? Yi Hua stood behind Dongwang Baiji and asked. Dongwang Baiji fiercely punched towards Yi Hua's face. Unfortunately, the speed of the punch was too slow, and Yi Hua grabbed onto it. Dongwang Baiji, enough is enough. Don't think that just because you are my woman, you can be rude to me. Yi Hua tightly wrinkled his brows and lectured. Where did all these things come from? Dongwang Baiji's eyes revealed out an ominous glint. This man is taking revenge on me for marrying someone else, which is why he snatched the betrothal gifts and killed my people. Yi Hua took a look at the red wooden box at the side and said faintly, What does where they came from have to do with you? Quickly go back and sleep. You bastard, did you snatch them because you know that they are my betrothal gifts? Dongwang Baiji questioned. Yi Hua's expression immediately became serious. Betrothal gifts? You want to marry someone? That's right, but I am not marrying someone. I am marrying someone. Dongwang Baiji shouted out. Yi Hua immediately felt bad, and the strength of his hand became stronger and stronger. Dongwang Baiji could feel the strength of Yi Hua's hand, and her wrist felt like it was going to break, but she did not make a sound. You want to make me a cuckold? Yi Hua's ice-cold voice seemed to have come out from hell, causing one's heart to tremble with fear. That's right, I want to make you a cuckold. What are you going to do about it? Yi Hua's face was slightly twitching, and his gaze was changing, seemingly wanting to return to the state he was in 5 years ago. Looking at Yi Hua's current state, Dongwang Baiji felt a bit scared from the bottom of her heart. Suddenly, Yi Hua let go of Dongwang Baiji's hand and fell onto the ground powerlessly. The demon that had been in a coma for 5 years was slowly waking up, and the remaining humanity that was left in him was slowly being devoured by the demon. This woman actually dared to make me a cuckold. Damn it! Everyone has to die. Dongwang Baiji started panicking, because Yi Hua's current state was just like him going berserk. However, even though it felt great to see Yi Hua like this, she still couldn't bear to do it. Yi Hua, what happened to you? Dongwang Baiji hurriedly helped Yi Hua up and asked nervously. Yi Hua stared fixedly at Dongwang Baiji and asked, You made me a cuckold? You snatched my betrothal gifts. Who am I going to find to make you a cuckold? Dongwang Baiji was speechless. Is there no logic at all? Yi Hua was startled, and the demon within his body gradually went back to sleep. His humanity had completely won. In that instant just now, Yi Hua thought that Dongwang Baiji had already made him a cuckold. This is completely unacceptable, and I even had the heart to kill everyone. However, I was mistaken. I only had this thought, but I didn't succeed. However, even if I had this thought, it wouldn't work. Chapter 237. Pulling Dongwang Baiji into his embrace, Yi Hua asked coldly, Why do you want to cuckold me? Dongwang Baiji struggled in Yi Hua's embrace, but it was useless. I want to cuckold you, you ungrateful fellow. Yi Hua pressed Dongwang Baiji onto his thighs, then raised his hand and slapped. Dongwang Baiji couldn't help but let out a moan. This is truly shocking. You bastard, you hit me again. Yi Hua said coldly. Baiji, if not for Ali, I would have smacked your, but until it swells. Go ahead and hit me then. I will tell my daughter about it later. Let's see how her father hits her mother. Dongwang Baiji's words seemed to be revealing some information, causing Yi Hua to stop. Adding on Dongwang Baiji's concerned expression just now, Yi Hua felt that this woman definitely still had feelings for him. Baiji, do you still like me? Yi Hua asked curiously. Even if I like a ghost, I won't like you. A woman who says one thing but means another, she's the same as Qinya. Yi Hua turned around and pressed Dongwang Baiji onto the ground, then immediately kissed her. Dongwang Baiji opened her eyes wide and struggled with all her might. However, facing the terrifying Yi Hua, she was completely useless. Yi Hua's sinful hand stretched into Dongwang Baiji's body and moved around Dongwang Baiji's delicate body. Every inch of Dongwang Baiji's body felt extremely good to the touch. Compared to 3 years ago, Dongwang Baiji's body was much more supple and supple. This situation made Dongwang Baiji think back to that night 3 years ago. That night was filled with both pain and happiness. Baiji, you are the same as 3 years ago, feeling fast. Yi Hua took out his sinful hand and waved it in front of Dongwang Baiji's eyes. Dongwang Baiji didn't know where she got the strength from, but she pushed Yi Hua to the side, then ran out while covering her face. Yi Hua didn't chase after her. He sat on the ground and laughed lightly. Seems like my charm is still the same as back then. Dongwang Baiji, who ran upstairs, crawled in her blanket. Her face was extremely beautiful with a blush. Thinking back to what happened just now, why am I so useless? Originally, I wanted to settle the score with him, but in the end, I was even feeling. I am so embarrassed. At this moment, the Empress was like a little woman in love. That kind of coquettish pout and bashful anger was especially charming. Actually, for some reason, when she saw those big red wooden chests, she felt a little happy. Hearing that the office door was opened, Dongwang Baiji wrinkled her brows. Why did he come in? Could it be that he wanted to? Bastard, my daughter is still asleep. He heard the door being closed again and the footsteps leaving. Dongwang Baiji raised her head slightly and took a look. This person came in and then went out? What was the meaning of this? Looking at the instant noodles on the coffee table, Dongwang Baiji immediately understood. The Empress, have lost all of my face. In any case, he had already lost all his face. What's the big deal? Let's make some noodles first. She didn't expect him to prepare a super large ham sausage. He was quite attentive. Crazy hints. The fragrance of the instant noodles quickly woke up Dongwang Li, who was asleep. Whoosh, seeing that her mommy was eating noodles, Dongwang Li rubbed her big eyes. Mommy, what are you eating? Mommy is eating instant noodles. Dongwang Baiji felt very awkward, being caught by her daughter while eating instant noodles secretly. Ali, come over, mommy will feed you. Ali, come over, mommy will feed you. Dongwang Li, who had tasted instant noodles for the first time, felt that it was great. The noodles are elastic and tenacious, and the taste is also super fragrant. In just a few moments, the mother and daughter finished eating a bucket of instant noodles. Mommy, Ali isn't full. I'm hungry, Dongwang Li pouted her small mouth. Dongwang Baiji also wanted to eat instant noodles. She wasn't full at all. Let's go down and get some, but Ali can't tell Daddy. If not, Daddy will be very fierce. And Ali will keep a secret. The mother and daughter secretly ran downstairs and brought back 2 more buckets of instant noodles. The fragrance is so fragrant. Yihua, who was hugging Anna Chinya, laughed lightly. This Dongwang Baiji is a bit interesting. She suits my taste. The torturous day was finally over, and at the same time, a new day had arrived. Who knows what will happen on this day? Voidless Realm's morning was just like a fairyland. Clouds and mist lingered around the place, and spiritual energy was abundant. It was an exceptionally good place to train. Right now, within the palace hall, the 8 elders had a grave expression on their faces. The throne was completely empty, and it was truly making them anxious. I think that there is something wrong with this matter. Yuan shouted out angrily. Xing Han stroked his beard and said, Brother Yuan, why do you say such a thing? The little prince has mysteriously disappeared, and now the Empress has also disappeared. Is this still not enough to prove that something is wrong? Yuan shouted out with his hands behind his back. The Empress has already disappeared for an entire day. How can I not be worried about such a big matter? What Brother Yuan said is extremely true. I also think that the disappearance of the Empress and the little prince isn't a coincidence. Most probably, someone planned this. Perhaps it might be that group of robbers. He Xin agreed with Yuan's opinion. Xing Han shook his head. The Empress is very strong. Who would be able to kidnap the Empress? Most probably, the Empress missed her daughter very much and went out to look for her daughter. Everyone remained silent. Everyone would rather believe in this speculation. No one wanted anything to happen to the Empress. An imperial guard suddenly ran into the palace hall and shouted out, Ying family's Ying Shang and Ying Kongsha request to meet the Empress. Yuando waved his hand, and the imperial guard left the palace respectfully. This is great. Where are we going to find an Empress? Yuanda stomped his feet angrily. Of all times, the Empress had gone missing. Everyone remained silent. He Xian said in a deep voice, How many forces in this world do you think can kidnap the Empress? Ying family, Ji family. Everyone blurted out. He Xian continued. This time, Ying family is definitely here to demand an explanation. However, the Empress isn't here. Can they be willing? He Xian, you're saying that Ying family kidnapped the Empress and then deliberately came here just to find an excuse to start a war? Yuanda exclaimed. He Xian nodded his head, but still said, Maybe I am thinking too much. I would rather kill the wrong person than let them go. I might as well take their lives. Xing Han was also a cruel and merciless person. He Xian shook his head and said indifferently, If the Empress was really kidnapped by the Ying family, killing them would also put the Empress in danger. If the Empress wasn't kidnapped by them, but by the Ji family, it would be a situation of watching the tigers fight. In that case, we can't kill the people of Ying family anyway. Yuanda sneered. Without the Empress to take charge of the overall situation, it was really a mess. He Xian nodded his head. Yuanda, You come with me to meet the Empress first and appease her. After all, if the Empress was in such a situation, her reputation would be in danger. Not only would her reputation be in danger, everyone in the cultivation world was talking about the Empress. Behind this illegitimate daughter, was there a degeneration of morals, or was there a distortion of human nature? No matter what, although no one said it out loud, but it had already spread, the Empress's man was really awesome. Chapter 238. Yuanda and He Xian came to the living room to welcome the two from the Ying family. Ying Shang and Ying Kongshi did not put on stern expressions. Ying Shang was in a normal state, while Ying Kongshi looked excited. He was about to see the Empress, and just thinking about it made him really excited. When the four of them met, it was inevitable that they would be polite to each other. Ying Kongshi couldn't hold himself back anymore and asked, "When is the Empress coming?" He Xian smiled. "Young Master Ying, the Empress is currently in seclusion, and it will be a very long time before she comes out. Does that mean that the Empress isn't willing to see us?" Ying Shang's attitude instantly changed. This was clearly an excuse. Ying Kongshi hurriedly said, "It doesn't matter. We'll just wait." "Shut up. You good for nothing," Ying Shang sternly rebuked. Why did his elder brother ask him to bring such an idiot with him? With a gloomy expression, Yuanda said coldly, "Forgive me for speaking bluntly, but your majesty indeed had the intention of forming a marriage alliance with the Ying family. However, it seems that your son is impotent, so the marriage alliance is naturally nullified. Moreover, the betrothal gifts were stolen on the way." Bang! Ying Shang slammed the table. His eyes were as big as copper bells, and his eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets. "Whatever your Empress says, are you playing around with my Ying family?" "Third uncle, calm down. The Empress definitely doesn't mean that." Ying Shang raised his hand and delivered slap. How could there be such a man in the Ying family? Had he been eaten by a dog? With a single slap, Ying Kongshi fell to the ground. He covered his face in a delicate manner. Coupled with his androgynous voice, he looked exactly like a transvestite. "Third uncle, you hit me. I want to tell father about this." Calling him daddy when he can't win was the character of child. Yuanda and He Xian looked at each other. It was a good thing that Ying Kongshi was crippled. Otherwise, it would be embarrassing for the Empress to marry such a man. That resume was all fake. Only by seeing the real person would one know the person's character. Actually, Ying Kongshi couldn't be blamed for this. After being raped, he had already started to develop his femininity. Sometimes, he would even use his flower-pinching finger, making it hard for people to defend against it. "Bastard, I really want to F***king chop you into pieces." Ying Shang was infuriated when he heard Ying Shang's words. He had brought Ying Shang out to embarrass himself. He might as well lock him up on the island in the future. He Xian smiled and said, "Young Master Ying is still immature. You don't have to make things difficult for him." This was a blatant mockery. Was such an insensible man worthy of the Empress? Obviously not. He Xian, Ying Shang, will make my words clear today. If your Empress doesn't come out and explain herself, I'll make it clear. 3 days later, Ying family's army will come and greet us. With Yuanda's explosive temper, he suddenly stood up and shouted out, "Sure, our voidless realm will be waiting for your arrival." He Xian face-bombed. "I really can't take it anymore. You guys are too casual." Ying Shang did not expect the other party's attitude to be so unyielding. Originally, he only wanted to scare the other party, but now it was hard for him to back down. "All right, see you in 3 days." After saying that, he picked up Ying Kongshi. Ying Kongshi shouted, "I don't want to go. I want the Empress." Ying Shang knocked him out with a single slap. What a disgrace. Watching the two of them leave, Yuanda said angrily, "I'll kill them now. If we kill them now, we can't guarantee that the Ji family will also intervene. Don't forget that they're all from the south." He Xian shook his head. When two armies fought, they wouldn't kill the envoys. Everyone understood this principle. "You guys are too hasty. You want to fight just like that?" Yuanda was also speechless. The other party had already said that he would fight. Could it be that he had to admit defeat? Who has Voidless Realm ever been afraid of? Ingshang rushed back to Ing family and immediately called for a meeting. All of Ing family's relatives were present, of course, other than Death Mage and Sun Fong. Sun Fong was only a supervisor and didn't interfere with Ing family's internal affairs. This made Ing family let out a sigh of relief. Family head, Voidless Realm is really going too far. That Empress doesn't even want to see us. Ing Shang reported the matter to his family head. Right now, Ing Kongshur woke up and said hurriedly, "Father, perhaps the Empress is really in closed-door training." Ing Kongshur, just which side are you on? Ing Shang lectured coldly. As the family head, Ing Jingshan still doesn't know about his son's character. Since Voidless Realm has accepted the challenge, then let's fight. My Ing family has been quiet for too long. It's time for the world to witness the strength of my Ing family. No one objected to Ing Jingshan's words. Ing family has been too low profile, and they're making use of this opportunity to rise up. Father, shut up from today onwards. You are grounded. Ing Jingshan originally just wanted to see his son's reaction, but the result was still the same. Ing Jingshan no longer held any hope in his heart. Father, Ing Kongshur's moan shocked everyone present, and some of them even felt like vomiting. No matter what, you are still a man of Ing family. How can you act coquettishly like a woman? Scram! Ing Jingshan shouted out sternly. Ing Kongshur stomped his feet, then walked out of the Ing family. Upon seeing this, the family members shook their heads. Ing family is truly a disgrace. Family head, should we inform Lord Sun about this matter? After all, our Ing family is really going to make a big move. Ing Shang warned. It was still necessary to inform Ing Jingshan of this matter. If by any chance his honor were to be angered, Ing family would have to face the consequences. Ing Jingshan nodded his head. Everyone prepare yourselves. I will go right now. The family members stood up, and killing intent emerged from their bodies as they shouted out in unison, "Yes!" With a calm look on his face, Ing Jingshan took the lead and walked out of the hall, preparing to report this matter to Lord Sun. Standing outside of an ordinary room, Ing Jingshan was actually very puzzled. Why would they choose to live in such a remote place when they have such a good house? They're truly not greedy at all, but when I think about the treasures that were dug out, my heart aches. Little skeleton, be gentler. Your fingers are hurting me. GGG, Imperial Translation. I will be gentler then. Immediately, a comfortable moan could be heard. Be gentler. This is comfortable. Move a bit more to the left. That's right. The most important, comfortable little skeleton. Your technique is not bad. GGG, Imperial Translation. I have an even faster hand speed. Do you want to give it a try? Ing Jingshan, who was standing outside of the room, felt very awkward. They are currently having fun in the bedroom. It doesn't seem good to disturb them like this. I should just wait for a while. The two people in the room were both sitting on the bed. Sun Fong's back was facing Death Mage, and Death Mage was using his fingertips to scratch Sun Fong's itch. All right, stop scratching. There are people coming from outside. I will go and take a look. Sun Fong rolled her eyes at Death Mage. Ever since the two of them had pierced through that last piece of paper, the atmosphere between them had often become ambiguous. Death Mage was no longer as domineering as before and had become like a little puppy. Death Mage picked up his phone and began tapping on the screen. Recently, he had returned back to the fishing world. Don't ask why. It was because he had money now. And right now, Sun Fong also didn't want to kill Death Mage. Recently, she had been playing Honor of Kings, and Death Mage was not interested in that game. What fun is there in being the boss if you can't top up your money? Is there anything? Sun Fong opened the door and asked. Chapter 239. Lord Sun. It's like this. 3 days later, my Ing family will be attacking Voidless Realm, and I came over to inform you about this. Ing Jingshan bowed and said respectfully, attacking Voidless Realm. Isn't this the result that his honor wants? Sun Fong nodded. And I understand. If there's nothing else, then go and prepare. All right. After greeting them, Ying Jingshan went to take charge of the overall situation. They had to win this battle no matter what. After all, this was the first battle that the Ying family was going to face after leaving the mountain. After returning back to the room, Sun Fong told Death Mage about what happened. Death Mage didn't report this matter to his honor. After all, his honor had already said that it would be better for them to fight as fiercely as possible. Sun Fong leaned on Death Mage's shoulder bone and opened up the game. She said faintly, "Battle of the World seems to have brought heavy dust to the sea to look for treasures." Kakik, Imperial translation, he's dug up the entirety of the Ying clan's island. Sun Fong sighed. If only you could speak human language. I have to guess every time. He, Imperial translation, you can go and beg his honor then. In any case, I'm not going to go and beg his honor. If not, his honor would think that I like you a lot. Are you telling me to go and beg his honor? I'm not going to go and strangle you. You're making it seem as if I like you a lot. There isn't even a bit of flesh on your body, and when you lean against me, it feels very hard. After finished speaking, Sun Fong took a pillow and placed it on her shoulder bone. Death Mage was speechless. Only yesterday, his honor said that he was going to bestow me with a fleshly body. You are the one who is not willing to give me a fleshly body. Sun Fong was also very depressed. If I had known that this would happen, I would have not cared about my face yesterday and asked his honor to bestow me a body. I have a boyfriend, yet I am unable to touch him. His subordinates women were thinking of ways and means to push each other down, and as the boss, Yihua was currently thinking of how to make them stop, let alone push each other down. Holding on to Qinya, who had a cold expression on her face, Yihua came to buy fruit crepes again. The middle-aged woman smiled, but did not say anything. This young man brought one a day. He was really amazing. Was he not afraid of failing? Haha, this Captain Yihua's ship had already capsized long ago, and he is currently in the midst of making up for it. Qinya, don't have such a cold face, smile a bit. Yihua said lightly. In actuality, Qinya, who had a cold face, was very interesting, and I feel that it is very challenging. Move aside, Qinya shouted out coldly and fiercely took a bite of the Chinese jianbing. My stomach is about to shrivel up from hunger. I can't let my stomach suffer when I get angry at him. Eat slowly. No one is going to fight with you over your food. Yihua couldn't help but tease, then took the lead and walked in a leisure bar. Qinya, who was at the back, said fiercely, I want to eat big mouthfuls of food. What can you do to me? While holding onto the Chinese crepe, Yihua walked into the office. Right now, Dongwang Baiji had already woken up, and Dongwang Li was still sleeping soundly. I bought breakfast for you. Yihua placed the Chinese jianbing on the coffee table. Get out. Dongwang Baiji stood beside the window with her back facing Yihua. Eat less instant noodles. Do you think I won't know if you throw it away? The whole house is filled with that smell. Dongwang Baiji said gravely, It's none of your business. Yihua slowly walked towards Dongwang Baiji, and when Dongwang Baiji heard the footsteps getting closer and closer, her heartbeat became faster and faster. Reaching out his hands, he hugged her slender waist and pulled her into his arms. Let go of me, Dongwang Baiji shouted out gravely. Yihua said faintly, Baiji, although you are very dishonest, your body is much more honest than other people. You scoundrel. A layer of redness appeared on Dongwang Baiji's fair face. Although I haven't been with you for a long time, I know what you are thinking. If not, you wouldn't have resisted. Yihua moved closer to Dongwang Baiji's ear and said, causing Dongwang Baiji's heart to be in a mess. You are grabbing onto my hand. How am I supposed to resist? Yihua laughed lightly. Baiji, for the sake of Ali, we should let go of our grudges. I hope that Ali can have a mother's love and care. And of course, I can't lack my love and care as well. We will be a family. Dongwang Baiji became silent, because this was what she desired the most from the bottom of her heart. For the sake of Ali, she was willing to try. Seeing that Dongwang Baiji became silent, Yihua's pair of evil hands started moving around again. Stop messing around. Our daughter is here. Dongwang Baiji shouted out. Baiji, are you saying that if our daughter isn't here, I can do it? Go and die. What a hypocritical woman. Although you are saying that you don't want to do it, Your body has already fallen into my embrace. Yihua laughed lightly. Dongwang Baiji said in disdain, you definitely cast a spell on me. If not, how would I be like this? Baiji, don't lie to yourself anymore. You do like me. Bullshit. Dongwang Li, who was on the bed, rubbed her eyes, then turned her head around and looked toward her father and mother, then cried out in surprise, Daddy, Mommy, have you two reconciled? Ali is too happy. Yihua let go of Dongwang Baiji and carried his daughter into his embrace. Daddy has forgiven Mommy. That's great. Daddy is so handsome. After saying that, Dongwang Baiji kissed Dongwang Baiji. Soon after, Dongwang Baiji didn't forget to kiss her mother as well. What a harmonious family of three. However, Yihua knew that if he wanted to make the two of them submit to him wholeheartedly, this was not enough at all. Yihua had been thinking for the entire night, because back in the storage room, Dongwang Baiji's concern had touched Yihua. This meant that only when I am in danger would they reveal their sincerity. From the looks of it, I have to hold the second meeting today to discuss how to make me in danger without losing his honor's face. Baiji, bring Ali to wash up and eat breakfast. I have something to do, Yihua said and walked out of the office. Dongwang Baiji carried her daughter. Ali, do you like Daddy a bit more? Or do you like Mommy a bit more? Ali likes both of them. Dongwang Baiji pinched on her daughter's little nose lovingly. You little fellow, you also know how to play dumb. Ali loves Mommy the most. Mommy loves Ali too. The relationship between the mother and daughter slowly warmed up. After all, the previous Dongwang Baiji was very strict, and the current version of Dongwang Baiji was more like a mother. Seeing that Qinya was going upstairs, Dongwang Baiji shouted out, Qinya, there is something that I need your help with. Qinya was very puzzled. Come in and talk. Dongwang Baiji appeared to be very sneaky, as if she was afraid of being discovered by Yihua. Qinya could tell that Dongwang Baiji seemed to have a way to help Yihua, and thus, Dongwang Baiji entered Qin Yutong's room stealthily. Sit, Dongwang Baiji said with a smile. Qinya asked curiously, you seem to be in a good mood today. Upon hearing Qinya's question, Dongwang Baiji's expression immediately changed. Who is in a good mood today? Qinya, do you still remember the matter that we talked about yesterday? Dongwang Baiji asked. You were talking about leaving this place? Dongwang Baiji nodded her head. Chapter 240. Dongwang Baiji naturally knew that. After all, as a woman who was once an empress, her way of thinking would definitely be different. Qinya, what we need to do is very simple. As long as we anger Yihua, he will let us go. Are you sure that you want to let us go and not spank our butts? Qinya didn't believe it. That fellow loves to spank and touch people's butts. Dongwang Baiji wasn't very sure. Why are you in a hurry to go out? Qinya asked curiously. Dongwang Baiji let out a breath. I have a very urgent matter to deal with at home. The two women became silent. Qinya's gaze could be seen revealing a firm look. Let's try. Isn't it just a spanking? In any case, I am pregnant and he won't spank me, but I have Ali. Dongwang Baiji was smart now. She looked for her daughter for help. The two women looked at each other and smiled. If we go out, where do you plan to go? Dongwang Baiji asked while pouring a cup of water for Qinya. This was the first time Dongwang Baiji poured a cup of water for someone after she became an empress. Qinya shook her head. I don't know. Let's go to my place. After all, my place is safe and suitable for nurturing the fetus. Children are more important. Qinya didn't dare to go back, and she also didn't want to go back to her home in Gaohai City. Qinya sighed. Let's see if we can get out first. All right. While the two women were planning to break out of the prison in the office, Yihua successfully held the second meeting in the toilet. Yi Zizi, Wei Chong, and Lai Gu stood respectfully in front of Yihua, waiting for his honor's orders. I am currently facing the biggest crisis in history, Yihua said gravely. The three shouted out in unison. Subordinates are willing to solve your honor's problems. Very good. I have decided to learn from humans and become a hero to save the beauties. Yihua seemed to have already seen Qinya and Dongwang Baiji being so touched that they would pounce into his embrace, then act coquettishly. His beautiful life was about to begin again, and in the future, he would also be a person who would be hugging beauties on his left and right. While fantasizing, Yihua revealed an arc on the corner of his mouth. Yihua pouted her small mouth and said, "But Your Honor, those heroes that saved the beauties that we met in the past didn't end up well. They were all killed by us." "Zizi, are you saying that I can't be a hero and save the beauty?" Yihua, who was a little complacent just a moment ago, immediately became serious. Zizi said sweetly, "Zizi is a girl. Of course, I know what the madams are thinking. Although the hero saving the beauty can make them feel better, it can't achieve the best effect. After all, the hero saving the beauty is a bit old." Hearing what Zizi said, Yihua also felt that this was an old trick. The two of them are so smart. If they were to see through this old trick, it would be awkward. My reputation would be ruined because of this old trick. Wei Chong, tell me. Wei Chong wrinkled his brows and said in a deep voice, "Your Honor, since ancient times, heroes have always found it hard to resist the charms of a beautiful woman. However, there is a need to lay the foundation in order to win the heart of a beautiful woman." Yihua's eyes lit up. Seems like Wei Chong has improved. Go on. The hero saving the beauty is a good idea, but in terms of the result, we should be more outstanding. Wei Chong smiled, thinking that this method was feasible. Lai Gu immediately slapped his thigh. "I understand. Gluttonous monster's meaning is to let Your Honor display his godly might and let the madams be immersed in Your Honor's heroism and be unable to extricate themselves from it." Lai Gu cried out in surprise. "I didn't expect that this gluttonous monster is becoming more and more intelligent." Yihua felt that it wasn't that it was impossible, but it was lacking something. Yihua said faintly, "Ever since I came here, I have never come across any danger, let alone any danger that threatened my life." "Your Honor, what subordinate is talking about is this point," Wei Chong explained. Yihua indicated to Wei Chong to continue speaking. "The madams love Your Honor. That is an undeniable fact." This bootlicking was done well, causing Yihua to feel happy. However, because of some matters, the madams hid their sincerity. What Your Honor needs to do is to reveal the sincerity of the madams. Wei Chong, that is exactly what I am thinking, just that I don't know what method to use. Zizi suddenly said, "If Your Honor is going to die, I reckon that the madams will definitely not be able to sit still." Wei Chong nodded his head. "That's right. On the basis of this hero saving the beauty, we should increase the difficulty by a bit." Lai Gu slapped onto his thigh once again. "I understand. Your Honor is going to be the hero saving the beauty, and after defeating the enemy with great difficulty, you ended up suffering from serious injuries. If you do that, the madams will definitely be touched to death." This time, Lai Gu finally guessed correctly. Yihua took out a cigarette and lit it up. "Since we're going to act out a hero saving the beauty, then we have to make it a bit more realistic. We have to see blood with every move, and we have to have people die. We have to have a big scene. Only then will it be shocking. Your Honor, leave these things to subordinate. Subordinate will go and look for the actors to cooperate with us." Wei Chong smiled. Lai Gu raised his hand and shouted out, "I will be the bad guy." "Wei Chong, you will be the bad guy too. Your identity cannot be discovered by the madams. As for Zizi, forget about it. It will be too easy for the madams to recognize you." Yihua had already decided. Victory or defeat will be determined by this battle. Suddenly thinking of something, Yihua said, "Then, doesn't that mean that I have to chase them away?" The three subordinates nodded their heads seriously. "If I don't chase them away, how am I going to act out this show? Then, later on, I will think of a way to chase them away. Lai Gu, you take care of their safety and wait for my command." Subordinate obeys. Yihua waved his hand. "All of you can leave now. Let me think of a way to chase them away." After walking out of the toilet, Yihua sat on the bar counter and pondered. If I don't say some ruthless words to them, what should I do if they don't leave? If I say some ruthless words to them, What should I do if they become heartbroken? When that time comes, don't even talk about being a hero saving the beauty. What should I do? Just as Ihua was pondering, Qinya and Dongwang Baiji walked down from a bar, and their expressions were still that bad. In actuality, Qinya and Dongwang Baiji were very nervous. After having a discussion just now, they had come up with a series of plans to break out of the prison. The first plan was to anger Yihua, and there were only two consequences. One was to let Yihua go, and the other was to get spanked. And when Yihua saw the two women walking over, if he were to flip out and chase them away, there would be too many situations that would happen. Also, what reason should he use to flip out? That is the problem. I'm also a reasonable person, and I would never act recklessly. The two women winked their beautiful eyes at each other, indicating that the show had begun. The two women walked towards Yihua at the same time, and just as they were about to get close to Yihua, Dongwang Baiji's body became unstable and fell into Yihua's embrace. Yihua, what is the meaning of this? You are hugging another woman in front of me. Qinya immediately scolded out. Her imposing manner caused Yihua to be stupefied. However, Dongwang Baiji stood up angrily. Yihua, you actually touched but just now, you old hooligan. All right, you even touched her, but Yihua, Qinya, have misjudged you. Yihua was currently in a stupefied state. What are we doing? Qinya and Dongwang Baiji were also very puzzled. I have already scolded out like this. Why aren't you reacting? It would be good if you show some expression. Don't be so silly. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.